Welcome to Stray Logic, the podcast that has the main focus on random thoughts, individual perception, and hearsay. Pull up a chair, some coffee, and maybe a shot or two, and enjoy the ride. I'm Warren, we have Ryu and Rooster here. This is our first podcast/video podcast where all three of us are present. How's it going, guys?
What's up, everybody?
Awesome.
Yeah, so I realize now, starting this, that I don't know if I like, because I almost feel like it's you two versus me, just the setup of the room.
No way.
Well, and we're all very different people. Yet I think again, we had this conversation before. Yeah. I think I'm the most grounded between the three of us. You two are you're way out there in one direction. You're way out there in another direction. But you guys, when you make a V, you guys are so far out there that you're closer to each other. You know, does that make sense? Like I'm sitting here on this round circular earth.
We're the fringe.
Yeah, this round circular earth, minding my own business, and you guys are way the fuck out there in a whole different world. But today's subject, we're gonna go over a few things. So first, we wanted to go over the guide stones, right? That's what they are. The Georgia
guide stones.
The Georgia guide stones,
Just
and then
conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy. It's our first actual touching into of conspiracy. And here's the thing too, is you guys are gonna have to support each other. I know nothing about it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna probably be the voice of wisdom. And true, the grounded side of it, where
Have
I'm
you read anything on them yet?
nothing. I know nothing at all. I told you
the one thing.
I'm gonna listen to it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sit here. Yeah. Maybe what I'll do is I'll be the antagonist of the story. So the voice of sorts of reason. So as I listen, I will be like, "You're fucking dumb." I don't know yet. Because I'm not big into conspiracy theories.
See, you can say that, but these are real.
Oh yeah.
They exist. It's a thing. You can. It's a tourist destination. People go see these things. So that's it too.
But
we're gonna debate the ideas that are on the stones.
Well, that's the whole
yeah.
premise of. So there's no doubt the stones are there.
Right.
But so are the.
But there's a lot of conspiracy about their origin, where they came from, who paid for them, why they're there, and a lot of that.
Maybe it's some fuck like you guys out there, just out there chiseling away. Just just a guy who's just really good at chiseling and.
Or it could be 1,000-year-old bloodline of people that have been doing this for generations.
Yeah, like
you
the
better
Knights
not
Templar,
even.
bro.
You better
like the Knights Templar.
And so
it's even past that.
So let's go ahead and start at the beginning of this then.
Okay.
Who knows when they were first discovered? Either you two.
It was erected in 1980.
79.
Oh, there you go. See, I was close.
There's a hole in your guys' story all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I'm easily picking this apart.
Yeah, they were erected in 79. Don't know.
Which is not bad for the top of your head.
Yeah, there's a guy who was the founder, I guess they call him, of the project.
The finder. Is he the founder or the finder?
No, the founder. He's the only name they have tied to this. He went and talked to the engineers. Whoever this guy is, it's R.C. Christian. We don't know what the initials are or anything other than that. That was the dude's name. So, but we don't know anything about R.C. Christian other than that's the name that's on these monuments.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So, can you add anything to that?
The R.C. Christian thing? No.
So I mean,
no, that's on.
Okay, so we now know that there are stones in Georgia. What part of Georgia? Tourist part?
It starts with an E.
I believe.
It starts with an E.
I don't know. We'll have to look it up. But yeah, I thought you had it pulled up on.
No. I just have a picture of it. I don't know.
It's like
what
Elbert,
it is.
Okay.
It's Elbert County, I think, if I'm correct.
Really?
Elbert County. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty fucking sure.
Okay. So
it starts with an E. It's
and
close to that.
how much research prior to this did you
Nothing. I just got done rolling. What are you talking about?
So like I said before we even started this podcast, this is one of my original conspiracies that I
kind of
came
led
across.
you into? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a stepping stone into years later where I'm at. And
Oh,
I'm
so
sure
we're talking.
Rooster's
This
at
broke
now.
that
is
theoretical charity.
This is a little bit of peeling back the veil. So this is one of the first.
Okay,
first
the rabbit
conspiracies
hole
that
of
I
sorts,
heard
the entry of the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So
okay.
It's very basic, but it's also.
Well, remember,
there's not a lot.
As a guy who doesn't.
Yeah, but there's this
might be
the
huge
whole
for me.
monument. It's mostly speculation. We don't know anything other
What
than
if
what's
it's
written on.
you're talking like it's little, but what if it's the thing that breaks me? Like you're like
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so
that's why we're talking about it, because whoever hasn't heard about them, I hope they go look them up. But we're gonna talk about
do
it
your
too.
research.
But,
yeah, hell no. I'm gonna get it from you guys. I don't care. This is
don't listen to this podcast as any kind of.
Let me give a disclaimer. This is about as credible as Wiki. Okay. Now, for those out there be like, I like Wiki. This is how I get all my information. Perhaps you need to find better sources. Now, not Facebook.
No.
Facebook is not a credible source. Well, I mean,
what about Google,
man? YouTube's got some stuff. You just have to sift
conspiracy theory time. Okay, you can't use Google because the Dems control Google now.
Am I on Google right now? No.
What's that?
Am I on Google right now?
I don't know. I don't know.
DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo.
And I also have a never mind.
Yeah. So I'm trying to add to your guys' conspiracy-ness. Okay? Google's controlled by the leftists, man. Right? I mean,
That's
or the Russians.
It's not. I mean, it's
facts.
No, that's not facts.
Yeah,
it is.
Facts.
Yeah, okay. They pay money to do stuff on there, and that's what controls a lot of this. Let's not get off
No,
subject.
not the Russians. I'm talking the liberals and Google.
Oh,
the leftists.
Okay, all right. This is.
See, you're taking fact and our reality is like, oh, this is some conspiracy. It's like, no, that's the world we live in. Yeah.
He's trying to pin us against him right now.
Yeah.
This is what we call with something with layers.
Yeah, so it's also called the American Stonehenge.
Onions have layers too, man.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so they're in Georgia.
Yeah.
They're made in 1979, or at least founded of sorts.
That's when they were erected.
Okay, so starting at the beginning of this, so let's say at the top, what exactly is like?
They're a giant granite structure. Think of Stonehenge. They call it the American Stonehenge.
Yeah, but but this is about content, right? There's content is what really is what's separating these.
I'm gonna read off. There's 10 things that are listed on the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah, and it's in 8 different languages.
Okay, so let's start with that then. Yeah. Let's actually break it down piece by piece. So let's go over the first thing that's on there. Okay. Because with 8, I might lose.
Right.
You know, I might not get the. Yeah, it might be too much.
Because number 1 is, in my opinion, the worst one on here.
Perfect. So what is number 1?
Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature.
And this is on the stone in 8 different languages, you said?
Yeah,
in 8 different languages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chinese, Sanskrit,
Hebrew,
English, Hebrew, all basically ancient human languages.
So are we talking like, I guess we're talking like the government controlling man under this, or is this more like...
We don't know. So one of the most interesting theories that I read about it, even today, was that these were put up in 79. That was right after, during, the Cold War era. All this nuclear...
the Cold Wars were a little... So...
Well, yeah, but this idea that nuclear warfare was going to end the world, right? So that idea was getting stoked in people's minds already in 79.
Okay, so
we were in
a quick question. When World War II happened, what was the world populace? Because before that, there's been a gradual increase in population. Mm-hmm. We've never hit it over a certain point. Right. It's just recently that it's boomed into the next level. Mm-hmm. But before that, we had the bubonic plague. We've had World War II, a big loss of life. World War I, a big loss of life. So at what point have we hit, like, when would exactly humanity hit 500 million? Have we hit that yet? And if we have, like...
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah, so could you... I mean, you have your phone on you right now. Do you think you could pull that up? Because so my question would be, have we hit that yet?
Humanity right now, we're at almost 9 billion.
Okay. Or last time I heard is at 4.7 or some shit like that.
No,
like
we're way past
okay,
that.
So we're growing at a substantial rate. So 500 million. At what point did we hit that first 500 million? Maybe we can backtrack and see, like, when was the first, like, was there, like, when we hit that point, was there a plague? Was there something released? Because if we're going to dig down a hole and say, conspiracy-wise, let's fucking really dig down this hole and see exactly, because maybe it's older than our local government. So maybe it's older than 375 years. Maybe we're talking, like the beginning of the churches. Maybe we're talking the beginning, like where exactly are we at? With Roman times?
What hole is he going
Yeah.
down
Well,
right
I mean,
now?
the first time,
The deepest one.
if you're telling me that the cap is 500 million, that's where it likes to stabilize at.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's
the first part of this guy's
and again, I'm taking it one piece at a time.
Yeah.
So if we backtrack, there's been the fall of Constantinople, the fall of Rome.
That's the current world.
Okay, so what point? When did we hit 500 million?
When did?
Yes. When's the first time? And try to Google search that. I mean, I know Google runs everything, but it's an easy source. So was it the fall of Rome? Was it the bubonic plague? Was it the fall of Constantinople? Was it when we went to war? So like the Catholics versus the Protestants, or was it the Catholics versus the Muslims? Like, at what point in time do we have 500 million? Because there's been mass extinctions of that sort all through history.
Okay. So
was it, how are we talking?
Population of the world?
Mm-hmm.
Population of the world in 1650. was 450 to 500 million people.
Okay, so 1650. So that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the United States, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Which is what?
The only war we had was for us, it was the Revolutionary War.
So
think
the
War of Independence.
Think before the American Empire was established, what happened?
Well, was there any major wars? So at that point in time.
Okay, so just let me make short work of this. Another rabbit hole that I've been down is right after the fall of the Roman Empire, within 40 to 60 years, Christopher Columbus ended up on North American shores. So the fall of the Roman Empire into the
I'd have
American
to check
Empire
because the Roman
is
Empire,
the new Roman Empire.
See, the Roman Empire fell. We're just as far for the Roman Empire as the Roman Empire is from the fall of Egypt, and it wasn't 300 years, because the fall of the Roman Empire was around Jesus Christ's time, and that's for us AD, which or after Christ, however you want to look at it, it's at least 2,000 years.
It's not that far back.
Okay, I'll have to look at that. So 1650, you said, right?
Yeah.
Major events. So that's what I want to know. I want to know what major events happened in 1650. So on this day, in 1650, nothing major. I don't know. See if there's any wars or anything like that. Because I want to know, when we hit 500 million, or after 500 million, maybe even a million people after, was there anything major that happened? And again, I've never heard of this, so this is all new to me. Mm-hmm. But if it's conspiracy, I want to know, like, how deep does it go? Where does it go to? Okay, so maybe that's something to look at. Maybe it's something for you guys to look at and tell us. Maybe if you're for this.
The whole thing. These things are all. I'm not for it.
No, the listeners.
Yeah.
If you're for it, throw a comment on our thing and be like,
sure.
In 1650, this is what happened. Okay, maybe you're on my side and you're like, you guys are all fucking dumb, and nothing happened in 1650. The 1900s is when the World War happened, the major World War. But right around that time in the 1600s, like, what was going on? So there's the first part. Now, what's number two? What's the second guidestone? I guess we call it commandments. Can we call them commandments?
Yeah, I think they call them the Ten Commandments of American Stonehenge or something like that. Or they call it the 10 Satanist Commandments. They call it the 10 Globalist Commandments.
Going on the Satanist part of it, so a lot of people don't realize this book of Satan is pretty lit. Like, it's actually like more about being good to fellow man. It's better being. You're supposed to be better to fellow man than it tells you to be in the Bible.
You were right. I was wrong.
What?
They were erected in 1980.
Oh, dang.
I read everything earlier today, so that's 79.
Again, did you use Wiki? Because we just went over that Wiki's not a good source.
I don't use Wiki.
So speaking of the whole Satanist thing, there's people that have, like, offed people on top of these stones. There's a big stone slab, has blood, like, caked in.
No.
Yeah, promise.
On the Georgia Guidestone?
Yes.
Yeah.
People hate each other on
it's
top
called
of
the
them?
capstone. You know what a capstone is, right?
I know what a keystone is.
So, like, they sacrifice people on top of it.
Well, no, this is a capstone. So, like, in masonry...
Who's done it? Is there any, like, recorded...
I don't think so. It's like Bohemian Grove shit.
Okay, well, what's the second one then? What's the second...
So the second commandment on the Georgia Guidestones is guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. So, see, this is where eugenics comes into play. Who gets the right to decide what is the correct path for humanity to take? Is it a physical realm that we want to go into? Is it a cerebral realm?
So I don't really have a lot to say. That one doesn't really hit me anywhere. So for me, gosh, I don't really like, because we don't have that right now. I mean,
we don't. China does. China has.
Well, China's a whole different beast, but like China doesn't follow the same.
Though.
Yeah,
this is the Georgia Guidestone.
If we're looking at
this is a guide for humanity. That's the whole point of the Guidestones.
Okay, see that's context. It's nice to have context.
Okay, sorry. The Georgia Guidestones are supposed to be a guide for humanity, but we don't know what that origin point is. So that was my whole point with the Cold War. Sorry, that was my whole point with the Cold War, is that everybody was freaked out about nuclear stuff happening. Nuclear fallout, nuclear winter, whatever. So they were saying that these Guidestones might have been erected by somebody who cared about humanity and then said, okay, after nuclear fallout, these things will still exist. They're massive granite stones. Unless a nuclear bomb gets dropped right next to them, they're probably still going to be there. Our Earth has been hit by asteroids and comets and stuff, and there's still monuments.
Okay,
there's still monuments that are standing. That
I'm gonna hold you here for a second. Allegedly, you're welcome. Right. Okay, that's the only one you get. Allegedly hit with, because remember, we have a flat earther here. Okay, we don't want to sit there and be making accusations.
Even though there's giant craters in the ground.
Allegedly, right? Am I fair to say that for
Yeah,
on your
yep,
side?
yep.
I'm playing the devil's advocate, bro. I don't.
Good call.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Ryu. But no, freaking Rooster's over here looking at me like, "Are you trying to make fun?" No, man. I'm playing the devil's advocate. I'm on both sides. So
because we all have our belief systems, and that's what we all think that everybody.
Well, what do you
thinks.
mean belief systems? I'm fact systems.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm based on sheer fact. And
No,
logic.
you have belief systems.
Yeah.
The way
My
you
core
view
beliefs,
the entire
I
world.
know.
Yeah, that's just.
It's through science and rational thought.
But it's still through your perspective.
So you know why I called this channel Stray Logic?
Because we do this.
Because
we
you two
just
fucks.
rant.
Yes, because you two fucks. I was like, so.
Anyways, so the guide stones.
In my mind, I was like,
surviving
random thought.
nuclear fallout. Yeah. Guide stones, we need to keep on track.
Okay.
Guide stones surviving nuclear fallout. That was one of the most interesting rabbit holes I went down. It was like, okay, so these things are standing. They can be read by pretty much any language of any surviving
Like
people left
major-
on the planet.
Yeah.
So they say, okay, humanity fucked up. We're barely even alive. If there's anybody left to read these stones, we're barely alive. So take these stones as a guide that, okay, as long as you stay in balance with nature and you follow the rest of these commandments, humanity will never get to the point where it's going to destroy itself again.
Okay.
That's kind of the theory that I agree with, that why these are standing.
What's the oldest language on the slab?
Sanskrit.
Okay,
which is
what's the
oldest.
newest?
Probably English.
Yeah, I would have to say English.
Okay, so
But you have to consider at this point in time, English is the most spoken language across the whole planet.
actually
So-
Mandarin is.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Mandarin is the number one spoken language. Most special SF guys, they have to learn Mandarin because it's
everywhere.
massive.
Yeah.
English is the third.
Third,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
'cause
third.
second is
What's second?
Spanish.
Yeah, it's either Spanish or
I think
yeah,
it's Spanish.
I think after that it's German, and then it goes like 6th or 8th is Portuguese or something shit like that. Yeah, English is not very common. Believe it. It's common in Germanic people,
Well, I
but
just figured, the world is adapting to English
no,
just because
a lot of places are getting rid of it altogether.
They should.
The number one the two
it's
number
fucking
language,
complicated.
the most in America, the language that spoke more than English before World War II was German. As much as was German. It was taught in all the schools. Afterwards, they kicked it out and used Spanish because they're our neighbors.
Or
we
because
just
they
spoke each other's
held a
language.
grudge against the Germans.
Well, I mean, at the time, like,
or maybe that's propaganda that you read.
no, that was actually it was.
That's propaganda.
I've
that you
talked to
read.
people back in the day, and they're like, "Yeah, we used to learn German. Now it's
Yeah.
still in the schools. It's coming back around, but before the French, German, and Spanish.
Yeah.
But so that was number 2. Like I said,
Okay.
that one doesn't really carry a whole lot of weight. I understand, like the way I
Well,
think
it's
of it,
just
like
saying it's-
Superman's story.
It's just guiding reproduction, so it's like.
You know
kind
the
of
story of
that this-
Superman, right? On
well,
Kryptonite
this
or
American-
Krypton. So what they did is it was you couldn't reproduce on your own. You had to reproduce through the government and it was genetics. Like they pulled some of yours, pulled some of theirs, and create a baby, and they incubated them. Like the story of Superman is that
That's
they
kind of
got it on.
Yeah, that could be
And it was against
interpreted
the law.
this way. Yeah, that could be interpreted this way, or it could just be like, hey, people, be responsible. Don't have.
Don't be fucking like rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't like sharing any personal stuff, but yeah, okay, all right. Number 3.
Yeah, number 3 on the list. But yeah, that's guiding reproduction. So who gets to decide that?
Okay.
So, you can look at it from way, and that's either going to be a Orwellian, centralized, we're going to control reproduction, or is it a personal human responsibility on do we control our own reproduction?
Okay, number 3.
So number 3, unite humanity with a living new language. Like I was just saying, I agree with that because it's a clusterfuck. And then as a religious person, the Tower of Babel. Allegedly, humanity as a race, human beings, all used to speak one living language. That is a biblical tale. So now so here's the tiny violin, but whatever.
Oh, that's me stroking
So-
my dick. That's because that's a story I want to, but for another time.
Yeah.
See, I don't believe in religion.
So you're the entirely no
I'm
religion.
agnostic. Yeah, as fuck.
Yeah. So you're the religious, and I'm the one that's kind of in the weird realm in between because
Well, I'm
think
agnostic, so it means
you
it's not
base
atheist. I'm not-
Everything on evidence. Yeah, you need
has to
see
be proven for me
right
to
in
believe
front
it.
of you. Yeah,
Has to.
I'm more along the lines that humanity is lost. Our spirituality, our mindset, our consciousness, our awareness of where we are at and our purpose, totally gone. We don't know why we're here anymore, and that's what humanity's having a hard time with. We're struggling to figure that out.
I don't know, I feel like-
and we're all at war.
So
trying to figure
you
that
know
out.
the common language between
Who's
all
right?
people. What the common language is?
Body language.
Mathematics. Mathematics is a common language between all people. It's what we sit in this space. Like, song and mathematics are two things that connect all people. It's just, it's there's no like barrier between people. It's mathematics, numbers, like the Braille system, is not even, because like it's different for different people.
Yeah.
For us, it's numbers. Numbers is the uniting for everything.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
so
music is based off numbers too. So it's
Yeah.
it's a circular. It goes it's all back to mathematics.
It boils down to numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers is in my opinion, is the one thing that unites everybody.
Yeah, but it happens in nature too.
Yeah, well, then that's why, because it's a universal.
Sequence,
It's a universal.
Like yeah.
It's a universal language.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
so far, I mean, minus
Like I said, the
500
first one's probably the worst one. Rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Then again, who gets to decide what tempered reason is?
Who gets to decide what faith?
Exactly.
But
But that's just saying, it's saying rule. So rule, passion, faith, and tradition, and all things.
I almost feel like that's
with
away from the
tempered-
capitalistic
tempered reason.
like world we live in, because it's more about money and so with this, a trait that man has developed that we try to get away from is greed. It's a survival mechanism. So greed is the way to survive when others are around, and if you have to choose, like, greed is your way of living. It's a survival mechanism that men have.
I think it's a survival mechanism that gets manifested into
and so
fucked up things.
So here's the thing: is
like,
greed worked for our ancestors.
Yeah, but it's not working right now.
Well, we don't need it as much, but so greed is something like with the thing with natural selection is there's things that are more prominent in one person than the other. What people fail to realize is that the things that we don't like, lying, greed, what's a trait that we consider bad in a person? Stealing. Those are all mechanisms that are installed in human beings to be able to survive.
Yeah.
So, like, that, again, a big problem I have with the world we live in right now, and this is aside from, is we're trying to neutralize what we actually are. We are mammals, but we are, we're not meant to be, I don't want to say caged, but we're not meant to be civilized.
Well, I think society is a cage.
So we're not supposed to be as civilized as we are. We are creatures like any other creature. We have the ability to think and process and be rational, but at the end of the day, we take away fighting in public. We take away like all the things that makes us mammals,
Primal
men.
beings.
Yeah, primal beings.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, aside from like that right there, like I have a problem with that. The reason I do is because you can't. That is based on a civilization.
Right.
So it's based on
It's based on an entire mindset.
Yeah. So, but I don't believe in that stuff because I believe that, like, if you take away, if you base things more on feelings and less on,
Facts.
I don't want, like facts, and I don't want to say emotions, but because people shouldn't be irrational, but we kind of destroy what we are, and it becomes what people are becoming now, and that's like what I was talking about. I talked to you earlier today about, or maybe it was you, as one of you, like Oregon, like those people are kind of losing their minds.
Oh,
right
because
now.
they have nothing to do.
Because there's nothing to do. They're caged.
They make tons of money.
They're caged
Their
animals.
life is super fucking easy, and they have nothing to do.
So right now, what are they doing?
consume
They're running the
stuff.
streets and like acting like fucking idiots.
They do nothing but consume things.
There's no
everywhere.
challenge.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, there's no challenge. So, but think about the economies that are doing well: California, Oregon, Washington, New York, and all these places are struggling with like major what we call left wing ideals.
Yeah.
Like they're away from the working man ideal mindset, the Republican mindset, and more to the left wing, but like far left. So like they're thinking like take from everybody. They're socialist.
Extent,
they're like going to the socialist mindset.
But what's bizarre is it's getting twisted because that's not even what like traditional liberals were in America. Traditional liberals still cared about American people. What's happening now is this weird extremism, and it's going to
in these places.
both
They're all
directions. Yeah,
California, Washington, New York. You have Oregon, like all over Oregon, Florida, like the major
metropolitan areas.
and it's always near water too, which is nuts too. If you think about it, it's always the coasts.
Well, it
so the
has
coasts
to
do
be.
well. That's where a lot of ports and
A
stuff are.
metropolitan area
Money's
can't
flowing.
be metropolitan unless it's got direct routes from.
I don't. And to me, this is an off-topic. This is into what I feel that.
Because this is at a core part of society, and that's
Yeah.
like,
See, I just don't.
And for me, like honestly, right now, society, it's weird to look at it in a human perspective because I think it'll take more time. And it might happen in my lifetime, it might happen in the next generation. I don't know. But like I think society's stressed. something's not right.
Well,
Something's going
again, there's
to
no
happen.
tragedy. There's no tragedy. There's no hardship. Hardship builds people into
There
who they
is
are.
hardship, though. I mean,
Well, what's the
there's
hardship?
Decay in the streets, because there's so much excess in one area that it leaves decay and runoff and
but that's not hardship.
disease.
War is hardship. Depression is hardship. Recession is hardship. The Great Depression, man,
Well,
people.
we're getting ready to go there again, and that's
Well,
what's
yeah.
happening in these giant cities. Is like the people that are on the very top, they're still there, but everybody else is getting left behind.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the homeless people.
I mean, there's
Oh, for sure.
millions of homeless people.
California,
on the street, and
California, what?
yeah.
15 or 25% of the populace is homeless.
Mm-hmm. But like you
Bro.
said, these metropolitan areas with this extreme liberal idea, they want
With
to
the
not
liberal
take
mindset.
care of those people.
With
They
the
don't
liberal
want
mindset,
to.
like, it's
they
like,
have the spikes
what?
on the streets,
Yeah.
on the benches. They don't let them sleep under the bridges. Like
Bro,
they
that's
don't want to
crazy.
take care of the people
The
that
most
live in
the
their own cities.
left-
They want to
area.
turn around and open the borders for all the
or
the
send
illegals,
off
too.
foreign aid by the billions.
Yeah.
But not take care of our own. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's something I think we're all in the same. We finally found a common ground, I think, amongst all of us.
And maybe, sorry if this offends anybody, but we're all American here, so like we
Well,
see the problems
so,
in American society.
I don't know if anybody would go up
to
to you and be like, "How dare you want to take care of our own?"
Well, yeah,
They're more offended that you don't want to take care of other people, but I think we do need to put a little more focus on caring for our own people.
Yeah.
And that might be more of a left
that doesn't
mindset,
mean
but I
turn
think
away everybody else.
I
you
think
know.
so. You know, the Statue of Liberty, the idea, the foundation of American thing was, give me your weak, give me your poor, give me your wounded, like give me your people. You know, we'll take people. We're the land of immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big problem people have is that if you come here, seeking refugee in America, but with different mindsets, trying to change what you're running to, like that's the issue a lot of people are having.
Change what you're running to.
Yeah.
To what you're running from.
Yeah,
Yep.
that doesn't. That
It's
doesn't.
so bizarre.
Yeah, that's the
I
dumbest
don't
thing in the
get it.
world.
Well,
And
it's
I get
happening in our
having-
country. It's happening state by state. All
Yeah.
these people have
starting in
seen
those
what's
liberal-
happening in California
Yep.
and other places, and it's falling apart. And they're like, "Fuck this! I'm moving." You know, it's too expensive to live
Well,
here. There's
well,
homeless everywhere.
look at.
I don't want to look at this shit.
we
Oh,
live in
it's
Arizona.
Those policies. That,
We live in Arizona, and we have a flood of Californians moving here with money because they're selling their stuff for $1 million+ and they're coming here buying stuff. And
because the economy's in a bubble right now. This
Yeah.
whole Trump saying boom, 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 the economy is going great.
well, not only that,
It's a bubble.
I don't know how true this is, but I was told a lot of people in California that are buying the houses are the Chinese or like the Oriental.
Why not?
But it's because they live
That's
together, they
physical
save a bunch of money,
assets.
buy more. They live together, buy money. So like they're pushing. It's I don't know. It's just a weird thing, and I have nothing against
No.
Occidental, Oriental, whatever side of the Pacific you live on. It's just what I was told.
Yeah.
So what's number 4?
Number 4.
And again, this isn't to me off topic. This is actually trying to discuss the
Yeah.
I don't know a
But,
rational
like,
discussion
they
about what
seem to get more and more vague as we go along. So like that's the hard part with this. Like it starts at the top and that's the pinnacle. Like
well, the first one
controlling
is just saying don't
population.
get too big.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get
But
too big.
then,
But how do you
so
control
now-
population?
Yeah.
Like in my mind, this is more of a government.
It's just a weird how do you take this from perspective? Like here's things. Which way do you take
I'll
it?
tell you what. If we ever have a nuclear holocaust, I'm going to these stones and I'm gonna just make a big old penis in it. Like so nobody takes it serious ever. And
Yeah.
the reason is because they're dumb.
Yeah. But then so here's the next one. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts.
See, what I don't agree with that, if you're speaking a common language amongst
you're
everybody,
talking
why
about
not a common?
nations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you think about it, and
So
I'm
that's
not.
another thing. This is supposed to be this whole new world order globalist
Yeah,
agenda.
but you're
they
talking
talk
about
nations.
division.
Yeah.
So
It's
what are two
weird.
things that
it's
take people?
contradictory to itself.
What are two things that people fight over? Two major things.
Money and religion.
Negative, religion and nationality. If you think about it, what was Hitler? He was nationalist.
Austrian.
No, well he was.
Yeah.
He was a nationalist. The idea is that put the German people first above everything else.
Yeah.
He was a
Well,
nationalist. Well, and so that's where he's like, but
You
who's
have to-
destroying our
You
country?
have to remember that the Jewish people that he killed were also Germans.
Well,
So-
but the reason is because he said this: the Jewish people are destroying our country. They're taking our jobs. They're taking our stuff. They're doing other stuff.
Right.
You know, the idea behind it is that the German people should come first, and you have all these other people who are corrupting. Because World War II, when they lost World War One, and they went into a big depression, the Jewish people were in charge of their country. And what ended up happening is he felt like they surrendered. When they surrendered, they took a total loss. Their country went into a Great Depression, and their money was worthless. You could have $1 million and not buy a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
It was
Same thing's happening in
So
Venezuela
when he
now.
took over, like Venezuela, imagine somebody coming in and being like, "Let's get rid of," because what happened was Venezuela, they were a rich country, they have oil. Well, they went to the more socialist mindset, and China came in and started helping them out where we used to be their aid. Well, imagine if somebody rose up, it's like, let's put the Venezuelan people first and get everybody out of here who's not Venezuelan. But instead of getting them out of there, they'd murder everybody.
Yeah.
It was
They
just,
don't
so,
have
but,
the right to do that.
So nationalist mindset and religion are the two things that divide everybody. You say, once you, those are the two, so borders.
Yeah.
Borders have always been war. France, England, Spain, Germany, the Turkish Empire, Romans, like they enslaved other people. Like the idea was that if you're Roman, you're pure. You know, so always borders and nationalists have always been the big divide amongst because they drew invisible lines in the sand.
That's humanity.
Yeah, right. So you take care of your own people.
It's even less than that. It's the little microcosm in the Saharan desert of the two tribes fighting against each other. They live 15 miles apart.
Absolutely.
That's
borders.
humanity.
It's invisible borders.
Well,
and religion are two things that people have always fought over.
Well, everything that you're
shown, resources is the
everything
third.
that you're given to learn from, everything that we have in our society is a divide. It's meant to split you apart. So like Republican versus Democrat, religious versus atheist, gay versus straight, Pepsi versus Coke,
black versus white,
private school versus public school, Google versus
it's a set method.
DuckDuckGo. Like there's always division. There's always
PlayStation, Xbox.
Right, and that's
right,
like
stupid
little things.
Yeah, because we all know that Xbox is right. Like,
but that brings you back around to that.
Oh, you're a PlayStation guy, huh?
Yeah.
I hate you. Get out.
But that brings you back around to that circular argument that people are bored.
Yeah.
Humanity is. We don't have anything to do anymore. That primal instinct is getting manifested in weird ways because life's too fucking easy.
Yeah, honestly, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Yeah. Is the greatest generation builds a secondary generation that isn't.
Like it's weird because like
hardship
easy,
builds men.
It's hard because like you're going through life bumping around trying to figure it out. And, that's hard. Your personal experience is hard, but life as a whole, especially for the American people, is fucking easy.
Okay. What's number 5?
Number 5.
This is interesting. It's an interesting concept. I know this is like just the tip.
Yeah.
So but I've had a lot of kids from just the tip. So
this one I think we can take now and apply it and maybe start working in the right direction. So it says, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
One more time.
Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. So any conflict that the country has, it handles itself, unless there's a conflict with another country.
Yeah, but look at us now as a nation. As we're world police.
But okay, so this is where this comes in. So that's where the world court part comes in. So it's external disputes. You're resolving external disputes in a world court. So when I read that, it made me think of Star Wars. So episode 1, they're in the Galactic Senate, right? You have all these races.
Yeah, but
aliens, but it's humanity. So you have all these different nationalities.
That's what the UN is. That's what the UN is supposed to be.
That's what it's trying to be, but they make it about money. It's like, okay, if you don't pay this much, you can't be part of our club. It's a members only thing, and like that's what we have to get away from.
Yeah, and you can't have any of this without corruption. Anyways, there's always corruption everywhere.
Well, again, greed is part of human nature.
Exactly. So there's no way.
If we ever go backwards, like this says, like if we ever go back to the greed is going to be the most important asset. The greed, lying, stealing is all going to be very important assets to be, and all of a sudden, the things we're told not to be are going to be things that keeps people alive.
It could be.
It will be if you go to more of like if we get away from the civilization, the civilistic human that we are now, and you need to survive. Those things are what keep you alive.
Yeah.
Like that's what's going to keep.
That's why most of the population is going to die off.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If any kind of apocalyptic scenario happens.
Yeah, you have to. People are going to go
within
primal.
60 days. You'll have.
And they will like all of a sudden. Yeah, you won't. People. There'll be people who care about religion and want to help everybody. They're not going to last long.
But then there's also people in the jungle that aren't even going to know what the hell's going on. Like totally oblivious to it, living their day, surviving.
Oh, you mean
like they do now?
Like until they win in court and the whole fucking thing burns down.
Yeah.
We won our rights to keep the oil companies out of here.
By the way,
and there's a massive
on fire.
Yeah.
Look that up.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, that's why I said they just won the rights to keep people out of there. All of a sudden, everything's burned. Now, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. And it's waddling and swimming like a duck. It's a duck, like, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe that'll be the one that breaks you, huh?
But I like the, I kind of like the world court because it's just, you know, you just have to get away from the monetary aspect.
So the issue with having everybody having a say, so voting internally is how do you vote internally? A lot of people think we're a democracy. We're not a democracy. So like we're a republic.
We're a constitutional representative republic.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the Romans had it right. Not everybody's going to show up to vote. You can't especially let's say 500 million people. Let's say 200 million people in this nation. Let's say 100 million people. How do you get everybody to vote? Because a true democracy requires every single person to vote.
Yeah, it needs to stop being voluntary.
Well, a republic, you elect people to vote for you, to make the rules and laws for you. So it's an electoral concept.
But again, our society is corrupted because we have lobbyists. We have money getting twisted into that. You know.
I know we have listeners that are more like super left and into like the hippie stuff.
Yeah.
And we have people like who are going to be like all about, man, the earth is flat, man. And then we have people who are, but you take away the guns, and I promise you things will change just a little bit. Now I'm a little bit more right, I guess, in this aspect, but like right wing. But like what keeps the government honest is the fact we have guns. Otherwise, we'll be slaves to the government.
Pretty much the only country that has that mindset anymore. You know that.
Yeah. Right? Well, if you look at all the other countries, man, you get fucking thrown in jail for just like insulting people online. Their rights are being taken away at an alarming rate.
Every country in the world laughs at us for us clinging to our guns.
Well, every other country in the world is going to be like when they're slaves to their government.
Well, they already are.
Well, I mean, and it's getting worse. They're like California on steroids.
This fucking close.
Yeah. No. See, I think that would cause the places that give them up, and they have been like California, Florida, New York, Washington, and all that. Yeah. Like Arizona, bro, we're the Wild West still. Like everybody knows it. Texas was never one I thought would start going that way, but they are.
Yeah.
But
you looked into that one, huh?
Well, it's pretty obvious. If a guy can walk into a supermarket and start or a mall and start killing people, bro. In Texas, bro. Yeah. Like everybody used to know. Like I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
when I was 15 years old,
I think everybody has a fucking revolver on their hip.
That's if it even happened.
If what happens?
That's possible.
That's if it even happened.
Could have been a false flag.
Oh, come on, guys.
Dude, there's still no video footage, nothing released of that at all.
But here's my side of that real quick, because, I mean, we're here already.
Yeah.
Let's say you were Hillary Clinton. Okay?
I knew it was going to get there.
Don't you fucking make me go to different places, okay? Yeah. Let's say you're Hillary Clinton and you need to fucking murder somebody in a prison. Now, why would you make it a false flag? Why not just go have people killed?
But it's still a false flag.
Yeah, misdirection.
Well, I mean, misdirection, but you're saying if it even happened.
Yeah, if it even happened.
Bro, it happened.
Are you sure?
Hillary Clinton, bro. She's a swell lady.
But here's my problem with that.
Please don't kill me.
Have you seen any pictures, any videos at all?
I'm not searching for that shit.
I've searched for the shit. I can't find it.
Okay, all right.
You know what was released?
Here we are. Right.
You know what was released the next day? The Dayton shooting. The Dayton shooting in Ohio. The video cam footage of the shooter being shot, those people getting mowed down, bodies, blood, bullet casings.
What are you?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yep. Yeah.
Look
it up, man.
I'm not. No.
Look it up.
I don't need that on my. I have trouble sleeping as is. I don't need that. So I didn't see. Now here's something, is that the person who did because there's 3 shootings, there's the mall, and then there's 2 other ones. Correct? There's 3 that weekend, but the pictures of the person is similar.
Got before anybody got shot.
Oh, that guy, a firefighter. We actually talked about it on the podcast. The firefighter put a gun to his head.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I see it.
Like I said,
why fake that if you're Hillary Clinton?
Society. I don't even think it's. You gotta remember, not everything's a conspiracy. So, yeah. But like,
don't you do this to me?
But
don't you stay out of my head, you fucking Jedi. Yeah, fucking mind Jedi.
So literally, like, this is kind of back to the whole thing. Society, I think something big has to happen. I think people.
You hear that? You hear the sirens? Yeah. You hear it? They're sirens. They're coming to fuck you up.
No, just society as a whole, just people in general. There's just something within the next generation or 2 has to happen, because our consciousness, our mindset, this whole greed, like you said, greed, consumption,
well,
the way people.
We can even talk about the biggest thing that happened in our generation. Okay, 9/11.
The biggest 9/11. Yeah.
Now, I'm pretty sure sitting here, you're smiling, and you have this stupid look on your face too.
No, because I remember it clear as day. The day
I was in
that
6th
happened.
grade, but I remember waking up and my mom was crying, and she was like, I could tell you, damn, that whole day.
Yeah.
It was one of the
The
biggest
hard
things.
part
Pretty
is
much
I was in 7th grade when that happened, and I don't know if I can trust what I remember because I've been awakened and I've seen more shit happen. Because like I can remember watching TV that day, and I remember seeing.
I remember
a
them
plane
pulling a
hit
thing
the
in our.
fucking tower. Like I remember watching that happen.
I saw the
live on
second
TV.
one. I only saw the second.
I
one.
saw both of them.
Well, I saw
watched
both.
the first one at home, and when I got to school, I watched the second one.
Well, you saw the first, because they didn't
So
start
I
recording
saw-
until, so like they showed the first one,
Right.
But I actually remember watching the second one happen and both buildings falling. I remember that.
Okay.
I didn't see the first one because I mean
Well, no,
it was
see,
9:00 there, it
that's-
was 6:00 here.
That's another thing. There was shit on the fucking radio waves and the TV channels that day.
We weren't
They-
listening to that stuff though.
They were reporting things that were happening before it fucking happened.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because it was 6:00 there, it was 9:00 here, or wait,
No,
it was
no,
9:00
no.
there, 6:00 here.
Like-
Because I woke
like-
up at 6:00 in the first
Dude,
one.
I'm telling
the
you,
first one
you
happened.
have to dig deeper than.
Okay,
just
so
because I
this
know
is something.
you have to be open-minded to this whole conspiracy theory thing. Like, if we're
All
going
right.
to talk about conspiracy theories, you have to be open-minded and not sarcastic about it.
It's not me
because-
being sarcastic.
Okay.
It's me
So-
arguing
so-
like a legitimate side
okay,
of
so
it.
You're
think
talking
about it
eyewitness
as if
accounts, man.
So
You know who was there?
No, I'm talking. You
Donald
can
Trump.
still
Yeah,
find.
he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that crazy?
And what has he said?
I don't know. I've actually never.
What has Donald Trump said about?
He
9/11?
said they cannot be brought down by planes.
He
that there's
watched
bombs
those
going
towers
off.
be constructed from the inside out.
Mhm.
Did he really?
Yep.
Yes. He was there. He
Yeah.
was talking with designers, the engineers of those buildings. So, and I've also heard that those buildings were built like shit too. They were using cheap, crappy Chinese imported steel.
Can we do that on our next
So,
podcast?
What, 9/11?
Yeah.
Oh, we can dig into that all you
I would
want.
love to
But
because.
anyways, so
'cause-
like there's just remember open-mindedness and conspiracy theories. So there's all this stuff happening that is recorded evidence. You can go back now and see it. Okay, here's live TV.
Well, I've seen like the
Live TV.
airplane,
No,
like
You're talking about the CGI.
like the hologram
Yeah,
CGI
yeah.
shit. What the
20.
fuck ever.
But remember, I'm not a conspiracy guy. So
I think airplanes hit both towers.
absolutely,
I don't think-
I don't think there's a doubt
I
that
don't
that.
think an airplane hit the Pentagon.
Yeah, that was just blown up.
Yeah.
Because there's 4 planes.
Well, there's 1,500 cameras covering every fucking square inch of that, and there's 4 that
Well, there's
show
4
us-
planes. The 2 that hit the
Well,
the-
there's 4 cameras that show the Pentagon being hit. There's 1,500 cameras surrounding that property that could have had a shot of that angle, and there's 4 that
and they were
allowed to
renovating
see.
that one side.
There's 4 that were allowed to see.
And the building that fell across the
Every-
street from the nothing.
The day before 9/11 happened, Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of State at the time, said, "Guess what? The Department of Defense, or maybe he wasn't. I don't know what his role was, but Donald Rumsfeld said, we just lost. What was it? Like $3.2 trillion.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
It's just like, we don't know. We can't account for it. We don't know where it's at.
Do you hear the
Blah, blah,
number
blah,
he
blah.
just
so
said?
this was on TV,
What?
9/10/2001. So
Get the fuck out of here.
the American government said trillions of dollars, blah blah blah.
Okay,
So we're
no,
gonna
no,
look
no,
into
no,
it.
hold
No,
on.
hold on. We're gonna look into it.
Pause you. So this fucker over here, he touched another conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Explain.
Anything that goes into conspiracy theories as far as like 9/11 or like, I don't know, you can pull up,
Anything.
yeah, any one of them. There's always numbers that add up together. It's always 3-2 or 2-3. It's always,
Numerology.
yeah, 23 or 32 in every one of them. Like if you bring up the Las Vegas shooter, what floor was he shooting from? The 32nd floor, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying it's
So,
always
There's
the
weird
numbers.
Yeah, no,
coincidences.
and that's where when you said that, he was like,
Quote-unquote coincidences. Yeah.
yeah,
But like-
they actually see it for once.
Yeah, but the Pentagon. So the day before 9/11 happened, we said, okay, there's all this money. We don't know where it went. We're gonna investigate it.
I don't want to get off too far.
Right. But this is just the one point about the Pentagon. So we're gonna investigate.
Just let him finish.
Okay, go
All
ahead.
the investigations happening right here. Well, guess what got blown up on the Pentagon the next day? Where everything was happening. That giant investigation where all this money was going. It just. Got
I'm going
blown
to
up.
add to your side real
So,
quick because again,
side.
devil's advocate.
Yeah.
That side was also being renovated. Nobody was there.
Which side is propaganda? Your side that you know is truth, or my side that I know is truth?
Well, I didn't say I know my side was truth.
No, but that's what
I know
you
my
choose
truth.
to believe, right?
Well,
That-
it's
you
not
choose
even a
to buy
choose.
the
I don't
narrative.
believe the Pentagon area.
Okay, so if you don't believe the Pentagon, what makes you question the rest of 9/11? What makes you not question the rest of 9/11?
I didn't say I questioned it. I just said it was part of it. I just said I remember watching it.
Yeah.
I remember watching and you.
But you were saying that the whole conspiracy with 9/11 being an inside job, blah blah blah. It's all bullshit. But you don't.
Well, I didn't say it was bullshit either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never
Okay.
said it was bullshit.
I
So
thought you were of the vein that you're like.
Oh,
you're
no.
not
Uh-uh.
into 9/11.
No,
at
no.
all.
So
okay.
I think you sit there long enough and you look at 9/11. Your brain's gonna go,
Well, the passports didn't even burn up. Jet fuel can melt steel beams, and the passports are still there.
Again, trust me. Like I said,
outta
this is his own episode. We need to.
I know. Yeah, that's its own episode.
And again,
The next
because
one
I
was
just
the
brought,
Georgia
but the reason I brought it up was just because, like, you know, just into the conspiracy concept. Because this is what this is about. It's random thoughts.
Yeah.
We may get off topic, but we're still on topic.
Yeah. So a tangent of a tangent of a tangent will forever
I'll tell you
be
what, though, if I was
interesting.
listening to this, I'd be like, these
Where the
motherfuckers
fuck?
are on.
Yeah.
No. I'd be on the opposite. I'd be like, let's get this motherfuckers. Yeah, come on, dig deeper. Now, if any of us
Okay.
disappear.
No, I'm not worried about that. If I disappear, it's going to be my own.
You're so scared of disappearing, aren't you?
Just Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I mean, because she's a swell lady.
Better
Trust
make
me.
love to her. Then when she gets
My
back.
petty ass life, nobody gives a fuck about what I'm talking
You better
about.
tell her you have a small child in your pants.
I'll do whatever it takes.
Okay, so the rest of the guidestones. So the last one that we talked about was let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
Right.
My argument was that I think the world court can be the right way if we change humanity's mindset.
The society
away
is
from-
just too far apart from each other.
But that's what you're saying now. I think we can shift away from that. So that's a
If
different
we get away
episode.
from religion. Because culture is based on religion. Religion is too different.
There's so many people in the world that never happen.
Yeah, it's just...
But religion's not necessarily a bad thing.
Religion has divided man since the beginning of religion.
No. Evil people that have gained power in religious sects have
Religion has
twisted
been the
people.
basis of it. It's what gets
Not
people to
always.
twist. So, here...
You want to know my main argument right now? Christianity is all about the idolatry of Christ. It's all about the person Jesus Christ as the person. It's not about his teachings. It's not about his words. It's not about what he taught. That's what
So
humanity has
you-
gotten away from.
I would love to
in
get into-
general. You know,
so I would
because
love
I
to
don't think
touch-
religion is bad, as long
Okay.
as it's not taken.
I want to
from a
know if we
corruption.
can get
But you have to
into
understand
religion
how much
based on as...
corruption has been in religion.
Can we get into
From
religion as a conspiracy theory?
Thousands. Absolutely.
Because I would like to.
You know what the first religion was?
About fire.
Worship
Zoology,
fire, yeah.
which is all...
Worship fire.
Yeah,
but
actually,
still.
in college, I studied religion.
But still, okay, so my worldview on religion, I'm going to get deep here. So my worldview on religion is that humanity has lost what they're supposed to be. So we have lost connection with spirituality. We have lost
What
connection
religion?
with any religion. So humanity,
So
people,
all.
the human race has lost connection with spirituality. They've lost connection with themselves, lost connection with their own consciousness, with their own mind. People don't talk to themselves anymore. I know that's probably weird for you and I. Like, do you talk to yourself?
All the time.
Yeah, like inside your head.
But
like
differently.
You have internal dialogue.
Well, you've seen me. Like when I'm
yeah.
when I'm working out and I'm getting ready to
You
do
know,
something stupid,
that's-
where like
that's
I don't...
called internal dialogue. That's where you're inside your own head and you're questioning your thoughts, you're questioning your actions, you're going through life and you're like, okay, am I doing this right? Most people don't fucking have that anymore. They don't have that morality. They just go. They just drone off.
I even told you that like I'm hardwired a little different. My brain doesn't.
I know.
It's
We
not.
all are.
Well, mine's not meant to. Mine doesn't question. It encourages.
Most people
It just
don't.
says like we're
That's
gonna go
what I'm
fuck
saying.
this guy up. Like,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
since I was 5, I was brainwashed to be a competitor.
Yeah.
So my brain is triggered to be like, we're gonna fucking kill this guy. We're gonna fight.
Yeah, but
we're
so
gonna
you
lift
still
this
talk
weight.
to yourself. That's
Yeah,
the
but
point.
I don't have the. There's no antagonist. It's all like.
But even
Yeah, but still.
in religion, I think most people, they don't, when they're like praying to a god, they're still praying to this weird symbol of God, this old man with a white beard and, you know, gray hair. Like, that shouldn't be, at least in my opinion, that's not what I think of as God. So, like, this weird religion is, I hope I don't offend anybody in this, but like, religion is, I think, a really dumbed down way for mankind to try and explain spiritual experiences throughout life.
See, I feel the opposite. I feel like religion is a way for man to try to find purpose.
Right, we're saying the same thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We're saying the
It's
same thing.
different ways.
Oh.
But throughout this timeline of humanity, whether we're 5,000 years old or 50,000 years old or 250,000 years old, however long mankind has been around, that has been twisted and fucked up by corruption.
Well, it's easy.
Greed.
It's easy. It's
because
easy
that's
to...
humanity. Like
Mhm.
you said, that's normal human behavior is greed and corruption and like, I gotta have control, I need power, I'm smarter or I know more. And that's another conspiracy we can get down with religion too, is that hidden knowledge, the ancient secret knowledge that nobody knows unless you're like, you know, in the Vatican, you're the Pope. Like,
Yeah, the missing.
that's
books.
another
what?
conspiracy.
The missing
with,
books.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
conspiracy
yeah,
with
yeah.
religion, is that like real religion, People don't know it anymore. That little book that we, believe the words of God, that's bullshit compared to what real religion is. And that's like ancient knowledge that once you know it, it's just an entirely different experience. Your reality is different.
Yeah.
So, like, we can get deep on
some
fucked up shit, but, like, so the rest of these guidestone things, yeah.
But now we have
they
9/11.
just get more and more vague.
We have 9/11. We have religion. So
And
these will be future
all over the
episodes.
place, yeah.
But
So
I'm okay with this though.
We
I
need
want
to
this.
pick these ideas out and
Yeah.
focus.
No,
on
fuck. I'm
them.
gonna write it down.
But anyway, so they just get more and more vague. So avoid petty laws and useless officials. Okay. I think that's.
Oh, we should be using that already.
I agree with that right now.
Yeah,
so
I
I
agree.
think most
But
laws
again,
are petty.
We have some petty fucking laws.
But
Well,
we also have a lot of stupid people that can't control themselves because they have no morality. They don't talk to themselves on a daily basis and say, "Hey,
It's the dumbing down
I'm
of
not
society.
fucking, I shouldn't do this." Yeah.
And they're like really dumb too.
Yeah, it's
know
the
what?
dumbing
You
down
like
of
talk to them
society.
and you're like, why in the fuck did you just do that? And they're like,
Because they don't think. And
Yeah,
but
It's the internal dialogue.
People don't have that.
yeah, it's fucking
It's
weird.
Well, see,
actually
I
kinda
struggle.
rare.
I struggle because like the only person I compare myself to is myself.
Mhm.
You know, I can hear your opinion. I can hear your opinion, and
But you still, everything is
But-
still from your perspective.
yeah, absolutely.
You.
But like, I've seen it. I actually have people. Because people listen to this. I don't want to throw any names or any like, but there's people who I know that like. I sit there and be like, man, how the fuck did this person survive as long as they have?
Yeah.
Like,
did your parents have any children that lived? Like,
except for you, you know. Like,
so,
but
yeah.
it's the dumbing down of society, and
It's
gosh,
idiocracy.
gosh.
So that's what I mean. That's where a lot of this shit
But
can
stupid
go.
laws don't save them. I think. Yeah. But so,
that's
but in
what
my
we've
mind,
been
California.
trying to do as a society. We've
Why
been
am
trying
I
to
so against
band-aid.
California? Why? Because of all the stupid laws. All these stupid fucking laws.
Well, because we're trying to band-aid. That's, again, we're back at mankind is lost. We're trying to figure out what the right way to do this is, whether it's, through nations, but we're trying to observe it through just such a short human lifespan that we got to realize that this shit takes sometimes centuries. Evolution of empires, they're really not good to begin with. Usually they go through a little bit of a struggle, and then they get through their golden era, and then they die off.
Well, you know the golden era
Where's
how it comes around,
America
right?
at? Huh?
You know how the golden era comes around, right?
Industrial revolution.
War. Always through war.
Okay,
Always.
but
can't-
what is war?
The conquering of another country.
No. War is profit.
Well, absolutely.
War is business. War, the only reason we go to war anymore is because it's money.
It's not. Well, it's either
all those companies. No,
religion,
no
Resources.
Nope.
No,
it is money.
If
Not
you go
anymore.
back,
It is money.
well, current war. You're talking current war.
I'm talking right now.
Oh yeah, but
The
I'm
only
talking.
time-
You can't pick.
I know, that's what I'm-
1/100th of the entire.
I'm trying to explain it to you so you get it. So we are experience everything very subjectively through a human lifespan. We have a very short time. You got to look at it from a bigger picture.
No,
as
I
an
do.
Empire.
So that's what I study.
So,
So,
like,
that
yeah.
world history, astronomy.
Right.
Like that's my jam.
Yeah. So where is America at right now?
We're an
Have we hit
expansionist
it?
country.
Have we hit our golden era?
I don't think we have.
But if America hasn't, then the whole world
Well,
hasn't.
and you can look
right?
at different countries who you're right, like the Roman Empire. They hit this point where they peaked out, and all of a sudden life was good, and then it destroyed them.
Mhm.
It's almost like a utopia
But
destroys their.
We're in this
human-
weird spot right now. In this.
Well, and I don't completely disagree with you. So
because
I
of
actually.
tech. That's where I'm going.
Oh well, technology I think is going to be the ultimate downfall of man, just because they're going to put us into this like.
Skynet.
Or it could be the other way around.
And it's not so much Skynet.
No, it's
like
just mean it's my ass.
well, it's kind of a cool concept,
yeah,
but I think it's just gonna like the dumbing down. I think it just melts our brain.
It makes them more dumb.
But in the current societal time frame, yeah, because it's just consumerism. It's like, okay, I'm gonna put this in front of you because you'll like it, and then I can show you ads, and then you'll buy shit from those ads. That I
Well,
show
not
you.
only that,
That's just-
I think it melts the brain. Like it really does. Have you ever watched a kid
But
like
it's
play
multiple
on this
things.
stuff?
It's
Holy
multiple
shit.
things. It's the sugar in our diets. It's the
Yep.
fluoride in our water.
Mhm.
It's So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
no.
more
Again, I don't
conspiracies.
agree. I don't disagree with that. But it's a lot of times war was built like World War II. Do you know why World War II happened?
World War II.
Yeah.
Because Hitler was a fucking asshole. He was a psychopath. He was killing
Nationalism and resources.
Oh,
Those are the two big reasons that there was the big pushing force. Like for instance, Japan, they expanded the way they did because of was actually consumer society. We pushed their values, our values onto them.
Mm-hmm.
They killed a lot of their Ronins, like
Yeah,
they're
they're
samurai.
samurai warriors.
They killed a lot of them, and then the empire goes, oh fuck, like we should adapt their mindset. Like what did we just do? And they adopt that nationalistic mindset, and then they went to war with everybody. But they
that's
did it for
also-
resources.
That's also America's dominance. We've also forced and manipulated our.
Well, absolutely, but
current
a
model.
lot of it's through war.
It's
So
everything.
how you know how we got so strong? Was
War.
actually
War.
Well, it was actually it was saving. It was a war about another country. So, Great Britain said, "Listen, we will give you everything. We'll give you our territories. We'll give you our technologies. We'll give you every single thing, if you help us." That's how we got radar. That's how we got like America became a world power at that point in time. Because before that, it was Great Britain.
But that's what you know.
Well, I mean, that's how literally because before that we were fighting with rifles. We went to South America.
What
with
if I told
rifles.
you right now, I think everything that you know about World War II is bullshit. It's all propaganda. Everything that you think you know about World War II or anything else about the people, about the bombs, about all that shit.
It's a
What
false
if,
story.
What if it was all fake?
It's all false.
Well, I mean, we have videos of us getting our ass kicked
Of course we
in
do.
South Africa.
And what if we had the technology for hyper advanced video editing in the 40s and 50s?
I don't think we did. Again, so
Tele-
you got to let me tell my side too.
Televisions were in homes in the 1920s.
See, I had to look at that.
I just
Yeah, but
So-
I'd have to have proof. So
right. So it wasn't very quick, but
I mean,
look at the
imagine
min-
maybe a
look
two-
at the military industrial
See,
complex as
the
a whole.
problem with that is 1920. So in the 1920s, we were just getting out of World War One. Okay, so I mean, America was literally pushing
and we
forward.
had surplus after the war from all this
We
manufacturing.
went into Great Depression.
Right. But
Like
we
a
had,
major depression.
We had all this manufacturing, willpower, and all this know-how, and it got transformed into this consumerist society that we're in now. Yes, we went through that Great Depression, but in long term, that all happened so that it can transition to what we're in now. And I think we're getting ready to transition again.
Well, I don't know. So like how America, total war is what took us out of the Depression. So before that, I mean, America was starting to blossom again. You know,
But why
we
did it
were
take us out of the
stabilizing.
Depression?
Because the entire economy went to war, and then we
then
became
what?
a world power. We got money from.
Because of manufacturing. American people went back to work to build stuff for the military to go kill people overseas. That's how America prospered.
Well, not
after
only that,
World War II.
Europe gave us everything.
Uh-huh. Well,
They did. I mean,
okay, so here's another hole we can go down. NASA.
Oh,
you
fuck.
gotta be careful.
So we
with
fucking
you.
So
go.
when was NASA founded? Directly after World War II, right?
Right after the
Right
signing
after
of
World War II. Do you know what
Antarctic
Project
Treaty.
Paperclip is?
I'm sorry, what?
Project Paperclip.
Where they brought the Nazis
So
over.
they brought back
Nazi
American
scientists.
government. This is all documented. You can do the research. You can look it up. American government brought back Nazi scientists
Mhm.
after the Nuremberg trials, the ones that made it through. They didn't get executed or put in prison for the rest of their lives. Said, guess what?
You now run the NASA program.
You can come over to the American
Bam.
side, and you can get a
So-
big old fat fucking salary, and you can help us get to the moon and beat everybody else on this. You know,
We didn't reach the
atomic
moon
race.
until the 60s, till 20 years
Okay.
after.
But Warner von Braun, who got us to the moon, look it up. He's the
Well,
engineer on
we
all
were
the
pulling
Apollo
those
missions.
scientists beforehand, though, before the end of the war, before the Nuremberg, because Nuremberg was just, the only people we put on trial was the government officials. Everybody else, they weren't important. They either killed them or they.
So a lot of scientists
but-
were put on Nuremberg trials
Well,
too.
it's
Maybe
only the
not
ones
publicly,
that
maybe
were.
not publicly, but the ones that were doing like the fucked up.
Well, that kind
human
of stuff, like
experiments
the
and
twin,
shit like
the
that,
twin, like the real fucked up shit. We can agree on that.
That's what a lot of.
But
the
before
Nazis
that,
were
so
doing.
like we pulled a lot of
That's
those
what
guys
Warner von
beforehand.
Braun was doing.
They ran from Germany and they came and helped us develop the bombs.
That's what they tell you.
See,
That's what I'm saying.
well, again, history is
So
written by the
my
victor,
view-
of course. Right?
Exactly.
It's all there's going to be.
America won the World War. The Allies.
Russia won the war.
The Allies won the war. Okay, we get all of Germany's top-notch scientists, top-notch, the absolute best of the best. Bring them over here, and then we start our
Can I go down a
our,
conspiracy hole?
Oh, here
space
we go.
program.
So here's something.
Why do we need a Nazi to start our space program?
Well, here's the conspiracy part of that is that Hitler had found aliens.
In Antarctica.
Yeah, and that's where because they all of a sudden went from World War I tech to fucking kicking the dog shit out of everybody like that. Everybody was still on singular planes, like the propelled planes, and all of a sudden he has jet planes out. He has the ability to massacre and beat everybody. Like, he made a technological jump like that.
Yeah, but is
they say the reason is because they got space tech, and it
you think aliens is the most remarkable?
I just think it's
theory?
cool. I just think
No,
so.
I think you're right. I think you're on the right track, but you're you're latching on to that aliens because you're like, okay, so that's maybe the explanation where it came from, because we just don't know, right?
Well,
but
I think it's a cool concept, and that's why I brought it up.
It's a cool concept, but so, and again, here's my belief. I don't think people think of aliens the right way. I think life exists elsewhere in our universe, but we'll never see it. It's too far apart.
Right. Okay, I agree with that.
So
yeah.
that's just my
Space,
theory. We're way too fucking far apart to ever see any other kind of life. But I think aliens, that's a creative thought that humanity's come up with, just like mythology.
Intelligent life out there, yeah.
Mythology over time, that's part of religion. There's a lot of religion with aliens, that can be at least interpreted in religion. And that's where this divine knowledge comes from. Well, from my digging and what I'm finding and my belief system is kind of getting shaped towards is that, humanity's lost. We're much older than what we think, and possibly we are either another celestial species, so we bumped into this planet because we fucked up the one we were on, or we're just drifting through space, and then boom, here we are, and then something happened. Cataclysm.
So would that be
war.
The Anunnaki theory?
Anunnaki is one thing. So that's the Anunnaki theory is there's these ancient aliens and they're a supreme species and they came down to Earth and it's okay, we're gonna create mankind and then they're gonna be our slaves.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. I think that's all bullshit.
I'm familiar with some of it because I saw a video once.
I think that's all bullshit. I don't think there's any aliens. I don't think there's any other aliens that are gonna influence us personally. I think whatever life is here on this little rock is what we got to deal with. My personal opinion. I think there's other life out there. I think the universe
It'd be
is
impossible
big enough.
it's improbable for it not to be.
Yeah.
That's the...
Yeah. For your belief system.
Well,
He's of the belief system that
mathematically.
the only life is in this tiny little dome that's right here.
Yeah, but I mean, mathematically, it's just improbable. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying mathematically, it's improbable.
If the universe is what you think it is.
If space exists, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because you're saying space exists. So I'm saying along
Have
that
you been to
concept.
space?
You said space exists. You said there's aliens, that space, that it's so big that life is out there. I'm saying that it's mathematically improbable if it's that size that life doesn't exist.
Yeah, but oh man, I'm trying to even put this into the right words. So I think
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, I think Earth is just like this spaceship that's just floating around, right? And so all this life is contained.
Well, technically it is, yeah.
There's nothing that's going to influence us as far as life goes, other than maybe celestial events, rocks hitting our rock, whatever. Wrath of God, could be flood. All religions across all the board, across all of humanity, all have a great flood theory. All of them have the same story. All of them.
I don't know if I've ever heard it in the Buddhist.
Buddhism is not a religion.
It is it's the biggest religion. It's literally the biggest.
It's a spiritual,
It's an internal enlightenment, but it follows all the same guidelines. It's the biggest religion in the world.
But is it?
It's the largest.
What does it say about creation?
A lot of it.
What does Buddhism say about creation?
So a lot of it is just that man exists. It doesn't.
Okay.
So
then, right then and there, that's not a religion.
Then you can't say zoology earlier wasn't.
No, because I think religion, you have to have a creation story in religion. There
has
to be an origin point.
That's your opinion of religion. That's not society's opinion of religion.
Well, that's all religions.
No, that's not true, because Buddhism is a religion. It's the biggest religion.
But I don't think it is.
And a lot of it's enlightenment.
It might be what we call a religion, but I don't think
we're
Buddhism is a traditional.
So that's getting almost too specific, because we're talking about religion in general. In a general sense, not if you're talking about creationism.
But any kind of mythology, any kind of human story, we're telling. Just like you've brought up before, our whole past before we had tech. We told stories. It was all oral history.
Stories and
we
songs
wrote it
and
down, songs,
dances and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, but every human civilization has a great flood. So, what if that great flood? What if it's not God? What if it's or what if it is?
Or a recording of some sort.
Yeah, it's humanity's experience, and we wrote it down, and this is just the way that we're interpreting it now. My theory, my belief, is that we're all floating around on this rock. Humanity has been at this point or beyond in the past, as far as
building of civilizations.
Civilization, maybe not this exact tech. We
I know what you're talking about.
We didn't have microphones and computer screens and cell phones and all that shit. But
what's that under the water
Atlantis?
like
Yeah,
Atlantis,
Atlantis,
like
yeah.
an
It was
advanced
an
civilization that
advanced
fell.
civilization,
But as a
right.
whole world,
As a whole, yeah. But, you know, we got influenced by something, and that's what that Great Flood is. So that Great Flood story was a big reset for humanity.
could you
And
imagine if
we
it was
haven't-
Atlantis and that's where it came from?
Well, that's one of
flooding
the
of
theories.
Atlantis, yeah.
Well, that's one of the theories is that Atlantis, the people of Atlantis, that global civilization, that was humanity. And we fucked up. And we either went to war or something outside of our control happened. This is what Graham Hancock's talking about right now with Göbekli Tepe, like all these weird archaeological sites that are. This is just stuff people can look up. But yeah.
And who's Graham
Hancock? He's a guy that he's an author. He's just a guy that I like listening to.
I think you talked about him before. No.
I might have.
Is he the guy that's been mapping from the helicopters all
Yes,
these?
he's doing like a lot of the LiDAR stuff. So
Yeah.
like he's finding.
The flying over like.
Yeah, over in South America, they're finding a lot of archaeologists. If they'll admit it, if they'll talk about it, they're finding vast amounts of buried civilizations.
Bam, and then they burn it down.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking
So-
South America versus Brazil. That's a big.
I know. It's still a lot of
Yeah.
fucking rainforest on fire.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a serious thing too.
Yeah, but and it's pyramids, it's cities, grids, maps, waterways. You can see it through all this LiDAR stuff. So I think my belief system is that humanity at one point, whether it was Atlantis or a global society or whatever, and this is another weird viewpoint that I heard too, is like we still have hunter-gatherer societies today.
Yeah, we do.
Like we're super advanced, we think we're the
World,
pinnacle
yeah.
of human, whatever, but
There's people
right
still
at the
fighting for
exact
water.
same point in time, there's hunter-gatherers
Yeah.
that still exist.
There's people
So
walking
what's to
5 miles
say-
for water, putting water in their
Yeah,
head.
what's to
and
say that didn't happen to humanity at one point or another? We had
Yeah.
hunter-gatherers still around,
And
and
to
that's
add
we're
to-
finding
and to add to
archaeological
that
sites. But
is they're finding pyramids not just in Europe or Egypt,
Mhm.
but all over the world.
oh, it's
All over
everywhere.
Yeah, all over
It's
the-
everywhere.
And
Antarctica.
I was gonna say,
Antarctica, yeah.
I was actually gonna
It's
go there.
everywhere.
That
Yeah.
I don't have definitive proof, and this
No,
is
and
just.
neither do I.
But Antarctica, so Antarctica, for it to be where it was, based on the tectonic plates, says that there was a time,
That it was-
it was, they were talking a long time ago,
Yeah.
that it would, to build on there, like we're talking like a long time ago for that to happen.
Yeah.
That would add to your
So I think
humanity older than
humanity.
if it is there. I mean, I don't know.
I think humanity is older than what we know.
That would actually validate your thesis,
on religion and
Mhm.
belief systems.
Well,
and all
and
that, yeah.
at least on
Yeah.
that you're on the right page, because there's something that shouldn't be there,
Yeah.
because there's mile highs in some areas.
Yeah.
There's something that shouldn't be there. It's there. It's built by man, and the only way for it to be there is either technology was amazing, or that humanity's older than.
Or humans were capable of doing different things because of different knowledge.
Wiped away by a great flood
Or-
or something.
They had giants.
That's possible too, I guess.
Look at Egypt. It's all over. Like
Yeah, no,
Well, they had
found
like the
fucking-
bird faces
A
too. and
ton
stuff
of
like
the
that, like-
archaeology
Yeah.
that actually happens in Egypt and never sees mainstream.
Well, a lot of it gets
A lot of
destroyed
the-
too.
Well, a lot of the local geologists and archaeologists, they don't want it touched.
Well, see, I know somebody who he did 4 years of his doctorate's degree in Egypt, and he's like, I've been there once or twice, but like they don't even care there. Like their civilization's so detached
It's so
from
normal
it.
to them, yeah. They
Well, I mean,
see it every day.
we
They
live-
see the Great Pyramids every day.
Yeah, like literally
Imagine
to
if
their
you
backyard.
live next to the Grand Canyon.
Or in Vegas, like
Yeah.
they see those buildings every day, like they don't even care. Like people go there,
Which
like,
is so
"Whoa."
bizarre for other cultures,
Yeah.
like a hunter-gatherer culture.
What's
put 'em
okay?
in the
So let's
middle of
finish
a
up. There's
metropolis.
what, 2 more?
Got off all kinds of tracks.
Yeah.
Well,
This is good.
but it's supposed to. That's the random thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last 3 are balance personal rights with social duties. Okay, whatever. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. There's some more hippy-dippy hoo-wah for you.
That one's fucking like out there.
And then, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature.
I kind of like that one, but I mean,
So don't be a piece of shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
The,
Like I
Cutting
said,
down
there's-
trees and shit.
bro, when
it
people litter,
depends on your perspective on how this could be interpreted. This could be a very good thing for humanity at a certain point moving forward. From collapse.
from collapse. Okay, so
Like I
somebody's
was
like
saying,
500 million.
yeah, like I was saying, humanity is maybe older because of a previous cataclysm or whatever. Maybe this will happen again, and that's going to be what religion's based off of. What if nobody ever remembers anything else? All Bibles get burned in some weird apocalyptic fire because of a meteor storm, or
somebody loses their mind and collects them and burns them.
Maybe the flood wasn't an actual flood. Maybe it was a flood of consciousness.
Yeah. Well, book burnings. Look at book burnings now. What we
Hitler,
call a book
Hitler
burning.
used to do it big and gross.
But look what's happening now with YouTube.
You know what it
they
is?
censor it. That's literal.
You know
book
why they
burning.
did the book burnings? To dumb down their society.
Yeah, because it keeps people from information.
Yep.
It keeps them controlled.
Yeah.
The less people know, the less they question.
The biggest loss of information we had was during when Alexandria fell. Yeah, the burning of the library. Yeah, has the biggest loss of like it set us back. It set us back majorly.
Yeah.
Like
well, that was and all. What was all that? A lot of mathematics.
Well, we
like
lost.
You said that's fundamental to everything that we do.
So we actually Arabic. The Muslims used to actually be the founding fathers of like geometry, algebra, like they were the leading sources for information. A secondary book came out and somebody plagued the minds of a lot of people and they said we shouldn't be studying this stuff. We need to get rid of it. And they started burning a lot of stuff. They ran those books to Alexandria, to Constantinople, and to pass the knowledge on so we didn't lose that.
Yeah. And the same thing's happening with liberal mindsets in media. So
it's crazy. It's literally
pulling channels off Google.
So this has been happening way before America, way before like the European power, way before like the dumbing down of the citizens to keep control. But a lot of it is based on
it's a central tenet to government.
And here's something too: is it's all based, and this is just from my studies and my viewpoint. A lot of it's based on using fear or religion against people, getting them away from what it should have been and into what they. Like it's based on fear. It's like you're doing like it's manipulating people based on something that they believe in. It's manipulation of beliefs. Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know. So those are the Georgia Guidestones.
And a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing to take away is that we have a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Georgia Guidestones, whether it's 9/11.
I could care less ever talk about this again.
Yeah, and well, this is a good entry. So like this is and more stuff might come up, and something that you brought up too was symbolism.
Symbolism.
Yeah. Both I think both of you have brought it up to me.
Have either of you been to Washington D.C.?
No.
You don't even know the half of symbolism.
Good. So symbolism. And it was you actually. You and me. We had a little bit of a conversation.
Everywhere.
So we have symbolism.
Yeah.
We have and a lot. Man, government. I mean.
Yeah, government.
I think that's almost something nobody at this point in time, like of today's society, nobody's going like, government's not like it used to be like no, the government's for you, the government's this. Everybody kind of like,
shit's getting
again.
Like it's no longer coincidental.
More division. The world is a stage. What if everything happening in politics right now is to get the people riled up?
Well, and it's been getting worse too. Is dividing. Because if we're divided, there's no way that we can stand. Like we can't fight them if everybody's fighting each other.
Nope.
But everything, anybody with at least a sane or rational mindset knows that. Yeah,
but what's sane about what's going on in politics right now? Supporting Donald Trump, or the other guys? The 15 Democrats you get to choose from and one socialist.
Yeah.
What's sane about any of this shit that's going on right now? Nothing.
So
that's what I'm saying. Society is getting ready to collapse, like from a mindset point of view. Like this shit's just getting wild, and it's gotta break at some point.
Well, what's scary too?
And they're controlling the whole situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people are just biting it, left and right.
But again, it's as you dumb down those areas that we were talking about, and as it spreads, it gets easier to divide because there's no rational thought behind. Now it's all emotional based, like you versus me.
Front of them that has a little badge on the bottom that says their favorite network that they like to watch. And
I once got an argument. I don't know which one of you two I told, and I was talking to somebody about and this was back when Donald Trump was running against Hillary Clinton. And there's no secret. Everybody knows I'm afraid of Hillary Clinton. I have been since the beginning. And I was talking to him about something that happened. Like, oh, you must watch Fox News. Like, started attacking me. And I'm like, no, I actually don't watch the news the mainstream media. If you watch CNN, that's fine. I'm like, I actually use secondary sources, people who
I don't want news from 30 different sources.
Yeah, and that's why I told him. They're like, well, you sound like a Fox News guy, and it's like.
But it immediately jumped to that because that's what people are being trained to do.
I shut him down. I was like, no, I got it from all these other sources. I'm like, where do you get your news from? And they're like, well, CNN. I'm like, then how do you know for sure? If you got one source and you're attacking me saying that because that you think I have one source, that I'm against you. I'm like, I'll credit some of the things you say, but I'm gonna add to the conversation. There's more to the conversation for me.
You know why? Because this is rare.
Conversation?
Yeah. People don't talk to each other anymore. They talk at each other. They want to, when a conversation happens, it's like, okay, I'm either going to convince this person of my opinion and I'm going to win, or it's going to be an argument.
Or they're my enemy.
Yeah.
Or they're my enemy.
Or it's going to be an
argument.
argument.
I see that all the time, man.
It's everywhere.
I actually just saw on Facebook.
Nobody talks to listen. They talk to answer.
There's no
they
objective view of anybody's.
And again, that's why
opinions.
I honestly, of course, I have my own personal.
We have our own
Yeah,
hardcore
we
beliefs.
we all do. So we're all different people. We're gonna actually argue about things. We might even get upset about things.
But we can laugh about it.
But at the end of the day,
time,
we'll at the end of it, we'll just be like,
whatever.
What's next? You know, like what's the next conversation? I like that.
I don't hold it, I don't hold it against you because you're a flat earther and you have your religious beliefs. If that makes
it against him either.
No, if that makes you happy and that makes sure that you're a good person and that's the way that you live your life, so that your morals are good and that you're not out. If there's some people out there that if they don't have religion, they'd be out fucking snorting coke and
pillaging,
banging hookers and
purging. They'd be
running
purging
people over in the streets and they
it's
don't
just
care.
Crazy.
I've met people that are like, yeah, I was on the path of destruction until I found God. And whatever their identification of God is, have at it. Please.
Yeah. So
by all means, take it. But you need to take it for yourself.
I think religion itself is corrupt. I think
because of man.
But I do agree that it's not necessarily inherently evil in the sense of like it does add a fulfillment or purpose. I think mankind needs a human being, a cognitive mind that has life and death needs purpose.
So here's another viewpoint of mine on religion. I don't think any religion right now that's going on in the world, whether it's Buddhism or Christianity or Catholicism, Judaism, whatever, any of your religious texts and books and whatever, I consider them next to nothing because I don't know what has been corrupted by man. What are the words that have been put in there to control
what has been
a group of people? Because it's happening in our lifetime. The Pope right now is changing, the God's prayer or whatever, and all that stuff. And it's like, I'm not a religious person.
Well, for instance, he said what pissed a lot of people off is he says you can have sex with condoms on.
Yeah.
He's like, if it protects you from STDs, you should do it.
He's changing all these radical ideals about what people thought was supposed to be true of their religion, and that's how people live their life. But it's based on a perception of an individual because of what they've been told that they should believe, what should be right. What is morality is so bizarre to me. Like in our normal society, like just as a living person, the things that are right and wrong. You shouldn't lie, you shouldn't steal, and you shouldn't kill. Like for the most part, those things are just unnatural to a human being unless there's a certain point in time, like you said, as a survival technique. So
but now
humanity,
it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, but now it's just going chaos because humanity has taken that and it's been
even the Bible doesn't say you shouldn't kill. I mean, look at some of his warriors. He had people. Right. He didn't choose he didn't choose your priests or Baptist type people. He chose warriors. Yeah, I mean,
Well, there was, some of the...
I think some of our society kind of sensitized us to it a little bit.
Well, it's manipulation.
Well, and I think that we're actually inherent men. There's a book, gosh darn it, I should have listened to these. Because I had 4 students tell me about the same book. And they're talking about that men need, almost what we're discussing right now, that men need the ability to be men. Like, that we're civilized, but we are men. And in the Bible, David was a warrior.
Yeah.
Like, God calls upon... And this is, of course, their sayings. Mm-hmm. God calls upon warriors too. And they were talking about the book.
That brings back to essential tenet of religion that every human has a purpose, whether you're a warrior or a beggar or Wall Street guy or whatever. And I think that's a good core of religious. I do
agree that it helps because we're all different.
Mm-hmm. I think religion in its purest form is meant to teach humanity how to live with each other.
Yeah, maybe.
It's supposed to. But that's not what's happening with religion right now. It's getting twisted into this extremism, whether it was Islam or Catholicism, whatever.
So
but then even at that point, it wouldn't even be religion. It would just be a higher consciousness of enlightenment.
Yeah. So you know what in college I took psychology philosophy. That was my studies, and I'm literally a credit away from getting a degree, but I have no interest in taking English too. So
English sucks.
Yeah, it's the most important thing that we have to us, but it's the hardest. I'm just not interested. Anyway, what fucked me up more than anything else? was ethics and morals class. I took an ethics and moral class, and the reason is I'm a regimented person. I'm based on structure. I need to be black and white. Morals and ethics is based on individual perception, and like it's whether it's like a, I mean, there's so many different variants of it.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah, it is a spectrum, and I struggled with it because I could write a paper on anything I wanted to, and I wasn't wrong. And there's so many different people that there's no, in different areas, in different pockets, and religion, and it went over all this stuff. Yeah. And I was sitting there just kind of scratching my head. I'm like, there's no boundary, there's no border, there's no context, there's nothing. It's just, if you believe you're doing the right thing, you're doing the right thing.
Right.
And for me, who's black and white, I'm like, this is dumb, because like I need something, because I grew up Baptist. I need something to tell me what is right and wrong, so I can build off of it.
And that's bizarre that you don't have religion for that.
Well, that's what religion does. It tells you don't kill, don't steal, don't do that. And different religions tell you.
It gives structure.
It does.
For
it gives you a structure.
People in their life, religion is a structure.
Well, like, I'm struggling because I grew up. My society says, because the American people were based on the core beliefs of the Bible. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the word. I mean, that would go hand in hand. And I was struggling because it's like, you're taking this away from me, and you're telling me that for every person it's different. As long as they're doing what they feel is right, they are right. And this is against what I believe and what you believe and he believes, but as long as they believe it's right, morally they're justified. And it fucked me up. It fucked me up bad, but it was an eye-opening moment, because the more you study psychology, mm-hmm. the more it fucks your brain up, because it just, what you think you know and how you perceive things, it distorts your perception. It twists it. And I was, man,
you're looking from the top down, and then it just goes.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden you're back at the top, and you're on the other side, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, we had a conversation about that not too long ago.
Well, you started getting into it, and I said, be careful.
Yeah.
I said, be careful when you get into this, because it changes who you are. Yep, because it changes how you see things.
But I think people need that.
I think it's good for people. I mean, I have a tattoo on my arm that literally is about the mind. But I told you, I said, be careful, because the things you start getting into are going to change how you see things. Who you are as a person is going to start to fall apart, because it's going to twist reality for you.
That's
everything.
That's how you
your
get
blanket's
rid of
coming
greed,
off.
Though.
What's that?
That's how you get rid of greed.
I don't think it's how you get rid of greed. I think it's how you woke. It's how people become woke. Yeah. Like, it's how people start seeing past their own fucking standing. I compare it to this. When you live your life, you stand this close to a wall. Well, as you start reading that stuff, you take a step back and you realize there's so much more wall there that you've never seen before. You've always been convinced that this is your life, this is your reality. You take a step back and you're like, well, where'd all this come from? Because my entire life, this is what I saw. Right. And there's more. But there's some fuck behind you 15 feet going, man, you just wait until you see. Yeah, you don't even know.
Yeah, see, and that's how a conspiracy work too.
Let me fuck you up with this. So that is your perspective. That is your perspective from a linguistic, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you were talking about how...
Well, and that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah. So what? Revamp with that.
Okay, so there's a story in psychology. It's the first thing I learned, and it says that these three guys are chained to.
Right. So that's what you're reading. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's where I was going. So that's what you're reading, and you step back and you see the whole wall.
Right.
So, but that's still you see that wall, but that's still only
an eighth of
no. That's only one perception of your consciousness. That's only one mindset. So I think here's another belief system of mine, that humanity's older. We once had knowledge to change our consciousness. We have different mindsets. You know what I'm saying, right? Okay, maybe I wasn't talking with you about this, but like another guy I was listening to is like we're all different people inside. Like, I'm the angry Oren, I'm the happy Oren, I'm the excited Oren, I'm the adventurous Oren. Like, we're all those different people. They're all kind of like little personalities, even though that's still
kind of like fighter Oren versus
right, normal. Exactly. So we've got that, but then so we have this mindset that we're in right now, and so for the most part, our consciousness is in this perception right now that, okay, I have to stay, like you say, grounded.
Right.
This is my reality. I know
who I am 90% of the time. This is who I feel I am. All right. Okay.
But I think humans are not always supposed to be in that mindset. I think over time we've lost other mindsets that have been productive to human growth and human perception and human perspective.
Towards what end?
Substances.
Oh, okay. So, but like, what do you feel like? Is it maybe putting a canopy over us where we're not able to see like a bigger picture?
Exactly.
Or okay,
so
because like
that's what I mean by we're only experiencing our reality from one mindset, and that's this sober society, right? We're sober. we're alert, we're on caffeine, we're stimulated. Like we
Yeah.
have to make decisions. We
That's
have
where
to
the
drive.
fluoride and everything
Like,
comes in.
yeah.
Oh,
so
this is the state. Us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the state that we're in. But then we also have this fluoride layer that calms us all down so that we don't go fucking
Yeah,
nuts.
they almost.
But it's kind of breaking, right? It's kind of breaking. So like this whole fluoride, people are getting into this hippy dippy. They eat better foods, get all this shit cleared out of your system, fucking detoxes, changes your perception, changes your mindset. Start looking into other substances. Me personally, cannabis was the first one for me.
Right.
Changes your perception. So our society is good with alcohol. That's a different mindset that we have. But what does alcohol do? It's another dumbing down. It slows things down. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
I've talked about it. My mind goes a million fucking miles an hour all the time. Alcohol was one of the things that I could just slow it all down, shut it the fuck up, and I could go to sleep. That's what I abused alcohol for. It's because it was, it shut my brain off.
Quit the day.
That's what alcohol does. It's a nervous system depressant. It shuts your central nervous system down. You are drunk. That feeling of inebriation is because there's less oxygen going to your brain cells.
Okay. And
that is hypoxia.
You're going to add to or take away from what
No, I was
So-
going to add to that.
Okay,
So
let's hear it.
it's not only that, it's the frequencies too. So you're talking like the iPads, the cell phones, and everything.
Everything's
They
frequency.
fuck your mind up with the frequencies. Your body beats and vibrates to a certain frequency, and they amp the frequency to a point where it like fucking boils your brain.
You know
what
what's
the
funny is
circadian
yoga.
rhythm is, right?
Yoga actually, it's all
Can
about
get you
frequency.
back into
Yeah,
it.
that's
I
what I'm
do
saying.
because I do yoga 3
And
times
that's
a
just
week.
it. Yoga's
And
fucking
also
everywhere.
yoga's vibrations.
Yoga's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Like
Everybody's doing
astral
yoga.
projection.
Yeah, everybody's doing yoga. Everybody's, So, like I said, society is getting to this point where it's going to be a turning point where we're going to change.
Where do you think
from
it'll
the-
take us if we?
I'm hoping it's going to take us into another realm where we're stopping with, like, all this, you're a bad person because you believe this or because you do this. Or as long as you're not harming another human being, you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want.
I see it even in,
And like you
like
said,
a divide,
it
like
could
a
be a
massive
Pandora's
divide.
box. It could be paradise because everybody puts down all these walls and all these borders and all this division that's held us humanity back for so long. Or it could go the other way where it's, fucking end of the world. And yeah, people
like a
just
utopia
go,
versus a Armageddon.
Apocalypse.
yeah, and that's so
Or
like,
apocalypse, yeah.
So it's which way there's that there's two wolves inside you. That's a Native American belief. Which one do you feed?
Yeah, right.
The evil or the good. So society is that two wolves right now, and it's getting split apart.
Yeah.
Which one are we feeding?
I think the problem is we get so far apart. The only way to see things eye to eye is to have a common enemy or kill each other.
See, that's an old school way of thinking. I think
That's humanity. It's
Yeah, I
humanistic.
know.
So remember,
that's how humans have been before.
My
We
studies
have to
are
change
about
what
people.
we've done before to ever
at the
get
end
better.
At the end of the day,
To ever get better, we have to change what we've done before.
see, at the end of the day,
The
we're still
definition of
mammals.
insanity is to keep repeating the same thing and expect different results.
Well, I mean, I didn't say that. Who says what we've done before was?
It hasn't worked.
We
go to
we
war.
survived as long as we have because of it.
Yeah,
So
but barely.
everything.
Oh, barely, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Look at this.
we've claimed to life. I mean,
But look
humanity
at
has
the
claimed to
imbalance.
life.
Look at the imbalance in nature. So there's
Well, again, it's a continuous thing dumbing down. So there's times it's like rhythm. Like there's ups and downs.
right, there's cycles.
Yeah, there's
highs
cycles.
and
It's
lows.
cycles, good,
Mhm.
and it's almost like what you're talking about. Is like before there was cycles. Like there's cycles of, like, of growth, and then there's a big, just and there's cycles of.
But there's also homeostasis.
Well, there absolutely, and that's why things ride up and down is because it runs a line.
Yeah.
It's just how
Well,
life works.
Life is doing this. Humanity is trying to ride the wave right in the
See,
middle.
I think
And that's what we need to try and do.
at the end of the day, I believe in evolution. I believe it's a possibility to run towards something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we, as people, and I studied the bodies, people. That's my study. That's like my jam. That
Yeah.
world history, because I see the psychology side of people. But at the end of the day, like, it's not. I don't think it's possible unless we remake who we are as unless we start RNA and DNA. If we start manipulating what we are as a human being and change us into something more like genetic engineering, that they want to do the microbes in the body and change like your hair color, your eye color. If we would change our demeanor as human beings, if we take away the nature, then we can move forward.
But I don't think we need to take away the nature. We need to go back to nature, but
Yeah.
not at a primal level. We need to incorporate nature to find balance.
And that's where you believe that cannabis is the.
It's not just cannabis. I mean, it's any substance, and that's it's balance. But for me personally, you can call them earth medicines, whatever, you know, whether it's psilocybin mushrooms or you know,
what's that study called? The
MAPS. What?
I want to say
Psychedelics.
No, not in the sense of like the drug aspect of it, but like a naturalistic.
Yeah, Ayurvedic or fucking.
Yeah, just general studies, I guess you could call it, like.
Yeah.
The more nature side, like grounded, like taking your shoes off, put your feet in the sand.
Yeah.
Like more grounded type.
Yeah. Humanity getting back in touch with nature, because I think, like I said, this life is confined to this little bubble that we're in, and we're all connected. We've all evolved over time, whether you believe in evolution or not. We're all here. Yeah. We're all here in this existence at this moment right now. So might as well make it the best existence that we can. So the only way to let that happen is to break down barriers and see things from different perceptions. And I think substances, as far as psychedelics, cannabis, things that have been this weird stigma in our society as negatives for a long time, in my personal beliefs, they're not those negatives. I've seen them help people. They've helped me, but like humanity for a long time grew up.
I think what will help the listeners is context. And I think our next episode we need that
context.
Yeah, because what you're saying, and
oh, I'm trying to.
Remember,
I'm going on the line.
Yeah, but I think what you're lacking, and especially like Rooster here, is a context to what you're saying, and like I don't want to throw anything out there.
Right,
I like to talk to you about it in person before I bring up things that, because there's things that he's talking about that I actually know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, no.
But without bringing it up, I can't describe to you what he's saying, because
it's all good. That's not even where I was going.
Well, I mean, again, what it does is it's a different emotional connection with human beings.
100%.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
In
No,
a different
I wasn't
sense,
even going there.
but in a different sense, like I can almost relate to what you're saying, but without context, I don't have the full grasp of what you're trying to get across. So I think context is going to get your message across a little bit.
But just plant medicines into just humans.
Plant medicine. That's
plant medicines. Yeah. So humans
away from the
have
pharma.
Eaten these substances over time, used these substances over time, and that's part of the spirituality. That's
well,
part of
China still uses a lot of that. I would like to see the difference that
a lot of different cultures do.
I'd like to see the difference between us and them.
For some reason.
Like I like comparison, because again, I need that.
Yeah. This whole the war on drugs, the whole war on drugs, like this American system that we all grew up in, this war on drugs, it's really a war on consciousness. It's a war on certain drugs.
You were shaking your head, yes.
It's a war on certain drugs that allow people to think in different ways. The sanctioned drugs that the government says is okay for you to use, they don't make you think outside the box. They slow you down.
They're suppressants.
They don't fucking heal you at all.
There's no healing aspect
to
it.
Well, a doctor's job is not to heal. A doctor's job is to
collect money.
Well, I mean,
that's why they call it a practice.
Well, a doctor's job is to diagnose.
Well, it's a blanket. It's a Band-Aid.
Well,
they don't fix the major issue. What they do, like, so if I'm a injury specialist, personal trainer. The things I could do to somebody's body, they would do surgery on. They would go in and cut and then put them on all these pills and stuff like that. I'm like, you don't need that. Give me 6 months with you. I promise you that like I can fix these issues. They're fixable issues.
Yeah,
you don't need surgery. Like, you don't need that. But their job is to either Band-Aid it or like it's. Oh man, doc.
But you're still looking at things from a physical aspect. I'm saying that these medicines.
I'm a physical person. That's
right. And these medicines can heal people from a different aspect.
But I think they can help in a physical sense too. Because again,
they do. Yeah.
I am. My entire world is based on a physical concept. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mind itself is something that I work on to strengthen. But physicality is my entire world.
Yeah.
But in helping people in the physical realm is my job too. So like if your body's falling up, if your body's not healthy, your brain can't be healthy.
No.
Amongst themselves, they strengthen their body so they can meditate longer.
Vice versa also. If your brain's not healthy,
if your mind is weak, So I actually, when I work with people, I work with the mind and the body, but I work within the realm they give me. And a lot of it, the first thing I fix is nutrition. I work on the nutrition, and I build my way out.
And once you take sugar out there, though,
brings us back to conspiracy.
Well, when I first met him,
fed these things intentionally so that we don't feel good, so we don't think the way humans are supposed to.
Here's to add to this too. When I met you, you came up to me, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what was something you were called? I love this about you. Unemployable. What's the first thing you helped me do? You asked me to help you with. You was a lot different person back then. What's the first thing you asked me to help you with?
My diet.
Your diet. Well, your body.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, hey man, I want change. Like, and you were a little out there, but I saw something special in you. I said, write down everything you're eating. We're going to specifically talk about your food and what it's going to do for you. And you're not the same person anymore.
Nope.
You've been away from that stuff now for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And from when I met you to now,
poison.
you would meet him then, and you'd be like, this guy is almost
you were a
radical.
drone back then, weren't you?
Yeah.
Going through life without that internal dialogue.
Fucking on the hard end of it though, like the radical side of it.
That's how most of the world is.
Alcohol and everything.
Alcohol,
alcohol,
starch, sugars, yeah, like.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But since he's got
in the water, but people are getting away from that now because they've got bottled water and all that shit.
Yeah, but plastics. I don't want to get started on plastics. Yeah,
exactly. So there's another conspiracy.
Well, again,
right
remember the physical realm. I'm on the physical realm,
but all these things are real.
I can tell you
physical.
I can't tell you what it does.
Impact the mental.
I can tell you what it does to the brain, because of the diet side of it and helping people over time. What has happened, but I can specifically talk about you and what it's done for you and the changes it made to you.
I could tell you that.
Yeah, it was, but again, we're in different fields.
Mm-hmm.
We live different lives. I have a different reality than yours.
Yep.
My perception is different. However, I can relate to a lot of what you're saying because in my field, I've helped people. I've helped people on an extreme level over long periods of time, and I have in front of you
a perfect case.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about a perfect, yeah, but an actual.
Yeah.
Because back then, I saw something special in him, and I wanted to bring it out on him, and I've spent a lot of time with you, helping you and building you up. I don't have to do that anymore. You're self-sustaining your brain. Every time you kind of fall off into that pattern, I guess, you immediately go back because you see that it kind of like it fucks.
You have no idea.
And I'm still there.
Yeah, so over a long period of time, anything past 3 to 5 years, your body, because it's always changing, it's building itself now with the better product.
Right.
So over 7 years' time, nothing in your body's the same. The old you has died off. Your body just is always dying and regrowing.
Year 3.
Yeah. So and the longer you do this, the more the new version of you that's being built is built differently.
And then you can't touch anything now.
As soon as you go back to and you're learning this just a little bit.
Yeah,
as soon as you go back to
it as a toxic substance.
Yeah, and it is though.
It is.
For
sure.
And I can tell you too, it is a toxic substance, and it fucking messes up your stomach. It messes up your body. It messes up your brain, from depression to laziness to all that. Like working out also releases that stuff.
Are you aware of how connected the gut, the intestines, the bacteria, the microbiome, the life inside your intestines is to your mental health?
Absolutely. Because when I was talking to you, because there's no secret that you have an autoimmune disease,
right.
And the first thing I said is everything you're telling me sounds like it's the microbes.
Almost every autoimmune disease can go from a bad gut.
Yeah. Well, immediately because I was like, are you taking this? Are you taking that? Because I'm like, it adds up. Because again, to me, it's
There's
like
certain
math.
damages that the body's going to do, and that's just how autoimmune, like rheumatoid arthritis, is one that that's just damage over time. That is.
I eat those foods, my hands swell, my face swells, my back swells.
Foods make it worse because those are inputs.
A lot of it's the sugars and stuff like that. Yeah, because once you cut it out of your body, you can never put it back in without suffering.
No,
I get hella sick. I even touch like one candy bar and I'm like fucking.
You almost feel like you're poisoning yourself.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It feels like poison. It feels like poison.
Your brain dumbs down. You can't even think anymore. Like you go from thinking and having rational thoughts, and you're just like
it's fog.
I almost at times choose not to eat because if the food that's available is going to make me feel that way, I'm like, no, because I'll think about my whole day. I'll think about my whole day. I'll be like, I just can't eat because I don't want to.
And you can see it on that person's face too. Like if I cheat or you cheat or like I have some sugar.
Or you pull me over at times.
Dude, we come in, our face is all fat, and you're like
swollen. The hands are swollen.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck did you eat?
Or we're fighting each other.
Yeah,
you
just feel.
You
you're not at full strength.
It turns your brain off, and you're just like you get angry and fucking want to fight. It's weird.
Well, taking it out of your system too is you're detoxing.
Yeah.
When you take that stuff, like so.
It's just inflammation in general.
Well, not just inflammation. So, like, let's say I put him on sugar and take him off sugar for a week. For the next week, he's detoxing.
Shit, yeah.
Well, no, he's shit. He can't function. Like, literally, he went from 100% to 35% like ability.
No different than opiate withdrawals.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Withdrawals. Yeah.
Oh man, this is cool. I don't know. This is our first, like I said, this is our first time together. We're at an hour and 38 minutes.
Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, that's our longest podcast.
Hours,
no,
dude.
bro, this is our longest podcast. So we're gonna end it here. Let's each leave with something we're taking away from this. Whether it's the experience itself or whatever it is. So I'd like for each of us to have 2 minutes, a minute and a half of floor time. Let's start with you.
I don't know. I'm glad that we're all kind of like we can all discuss our ideas, but we can all see it from different perspectives and we can accept it without being too critical.
Well, there's a reason I wanted you two both in here.
Yeah, I think we for moving forward, and I don't think this episode got out of hand, but like, I know with your guys's, it was just you two. It seemed like it was more not criticizing the idea and criticizing the person.
Oh yeah.
So
This
yeah.
fucking guy.
Well, only on
That's
one.
because you guys were batting back and
I
forth. That's
told
your
you.
chemistry.
I
That's
told
Yeah, but there's people who listen to it and it's like,
attack a
fuck
flat
yeah.
earther. That's
Yeah.
the only reason.
And I will
Yeah.
every time.
Attack a
But
flat
what did I
earther.
ask you? What did I ask you though?
What?
About the flat earthing concept. I said I actually do want to have.
Oh,
I want to have dialogue.
yeah,
I
we
need.
do
I told.
have dialogue,
Well, and I
yeah.
said if you could be here and
As
help
a
me
mediator.
as a mediator because of the fact.
Because,
that-
like you said, we're all different people. We're all on different ends of the spectrum, and
Yeah.
so we can all bounce back
But
and forth. And
I see it
control.
too. I actually asked him for help. To
Oh,
help
are
me.
you-
I did because I need a mediator between us. So instead of just
He was
me-
aware of it.
So
Yeah.
you don't
That's
attack
why I
him.
brought it up, because he was very aware of it.
Well, I already
You
knew.
know?
I
Yeah.
know, and I want to have the conversation. I do. I want to have the conversation because I want to prove you wrong. It's something I'm passionate about. Like it hits on the things that I'm passionate about.
You're right.
I'm passionate about space. You know, I don't use theology as a means of reality. Like a lot of what it goes into is against my core beliefs as a like. I really do feel I'm a grounded person, so it almost feels stupid to me. So I asked him. I'm like, hey, Ryu, can you like sit in here with us because I want to have the conversation. I want to have a debate because it's not going to be an agreement. It's going to be a debate, but I want it to be based on our facts, our realities. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to change how you feel about it.
No.
But I want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's
you know,
important between
yeah.
all of us is we want
if
that.
I can sit here and mediate that and stay on track, it'll be good, because I think he'll probably say some things that you'll be like, okay, I can see that perspective. You'll never be a flat
5
earther.
years.
You'll never buy into the theory, but he might say something from his perspective that you're like, oh, I never thought of it
so
that way.
I
But I might be able to pick what he's saying and flip it in a way for you to understand.
Again,
it.
I want to do it not for me, but for other people.
Right, but you want it for yourself. I
No.
can,
Yeah,
I can
look
see
at the
the
smirk
I
on
can
your
get
face.
the I can tell the anger, the tone in your voice.
Honestly,
your
I
grit, your
just
teeth.
want to
You're
hit
just
him.
like, yeah.
And I have too. As we've heard in the last podcast, like I've broken his fucking teeth, and you know what? I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad any single time I've ever done it. But at the same point in time, I care about him. You know, I want him to have a voice.
Yeah.
And I need somebody there to make sure that I give him that.
And that's cool.
Yeah, it's important. That's more
You
important
need
to
somebody
me.
there to make sure that I have a
Yeah,
voice.
yeah, yeah.
And that's
What a nice
a
guy.
big part of what we talked about tonight.
well-
Most people don't have that. Most people in this world don't have that.
Well-
That you can have totally radically different core beliefs, and you can still be fucking brothers at the end of the day.
Well, how do I
That's
feel about marijuana?
crazy.
Cannabis.
Yeah.
Sorry. How do I feel about
You can't
cannabis?
stand it. You don't want anything to do with it.
It
You don't
freaks
want
me out a little
around
bit,
it.
right?
Yeah,
But-
it causes anxiety. You've known it as a pure negative your entire life, and it's, for me, it's like the fucking...
The opposite.
Yeah,
We have conflicting views, but at the same point in time, I want to talk about
and
it.
you respect it.
And honestly, even though, you know, how I feel very strongly against it, I want him to have a voice. I want you to have a voice too.
Yeah.
I want you guys to be able to talk about something that it's conflicting to me, but I still want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, that's why these are so important to me, because it's more than just, I'm not trying to share my ideals and views. I might be passionate in the manner that I will fight you about it, but at the same point in time, I want to have the conversation because I feel it's important. And you're right about something, is that people don't have these conversations. They don't have, like, if I'm conflicted about something, why wouldn't I want to learn about it? If you're telling me, like, this is going to help you, and the whole time I'm like, oh, well, you're an enemy because you don't believe what I believe, and yada, yada, yada.
Because
But
most people are okay with believing what they believe, and
Shutting out
hating
the
the
world
guy
and
that
hating- yeah.
believes another thing.
But
Yeah.
why not get an educated, because I believe that you've educated yourself on it, why not get an educated pass on it and then make a true educated decision for myself? I think I deserve that.
Yeah.
I think you deserve the ability to have that conversation with me too.
Yeah.
But vice versa, as long as you're receptive to hear what I have to say and why. I think that's what this is supposed to be about. It's
listening.
stray logic. This is
Listening.
random thoughts, your thoughts versus my thoughts in context. Like, I don't know, it's pretty cool. I got goosebumps there for a second. Just, yeah, it may not mean a lot to you, but it means something to me.
No, it does, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this, because, you know, maybe that's one way that I can help with this consciousness shift that I think is happening. Because that's another belief of mine, is my reality is what I manifest it to be.
Yeah.
So whatever I want to happen, I have to think it. I have to
I
make
even
it
told
happen.
you that I might not be for it, but you might be educating people out there who have been against it their whole life.
Yeah.
I struggle with the concept of it being like I voted for it to be legal, not for me.
Right.
I told you that. I
Yeah.
told,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I want, if people are listening, to be able to hear this and be like, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe instead of being so opposed to letting you live your life, because people are so opposed to it, they don't want to hear your side of the story. They just want to say, no, it's evil. But what if they didn't? What if that one, or for you, what if, like, instead of shutting everybody out, they're willing to listen and be like, okay, like, this is what you believe. If I can hear it, then maybe I understand more about you, and we can relate on a different level. Like, that's...
But that's a division of religion, too, because a lot of people say, okay,
well, maybe we're
you're
breaking the stigmas
but
of all the
but
division.
it's identity. It's identity in politics, identity everywhere. You're a Christian, I don't like what you believe.
Yep.
But you don't know shit about what that one Christian believes. You're just taking Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
That's a label.
On the
That's
mainstream.
That's a
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's,
you could break it down
You have no
into...
idea what that person actually is thinking inside their head, but because they're a Christian, you hate that person, or because they're a Jew, you hate that person.
Well, Jehovah's Witness,
or
Baptist,
insert anything, black, white,
what's always been crazy is I've always been super interested in people who have opposing ideas. My first time meeting a Muslim, I wanted to know everything that he knew.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to know.
There's a really cool meme that I have in my old phone, but it said, it was a picture of, I think it was a little Jewish boy, and then
like a Pakistani or...
Yeah, Middle Eastern. One had what's the
like
Jewish
the
book?
yarmulke
What's the Jewish book?
Anyway.
I'm sorry, yeah, the Jewish holy book, and then the Quran in the other hand, and said if you were born where he was born, you would believe what he believes.
Yeah. I've seen things like that.
Yeah.
I love, because it's people since 9/11 were like, they're scary, they're the enemy. I'm like, I want to know truly, like, what do you believe? Like, I don't want to hear it from them, I want to hear it from you. Like, and I've heard things that I didn't agree with from this guy, but this guy believes something totally different.
Personal.
Yeah, I like the individual as a whole. I don't like certain things, but I always want to hear what this person has to say. And I've always been that way. People were like, "Oh, you probably shouldn't talk to that person about this." I'm like, why? I want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I want to know exactly what he believes from him, and why.
Cool little personal experience I had right out of high school, or in high school. I was working at Quiznos sandwich shop, and we had these two guys that would come in, regulars, and just come in and get the same sandwiches every time they came in. Well, they were Iraqis. We found out later that they were Iraqi nationals that came here after 9/11, and so they didn't really tell people that, for a long time, and probably even now, you can't say that you were from Iraq, or anything going on when we had this global war on terror. If you were a Middle Eastern person, you really didn't talk about where you were from unless you were already in America pre 9/11. Post 9/11, a lot of people didn't talk about it. I don't think, at least that was my experience of the sandwich shop that I worked at. We had tons of tourists coming through, and nobody from the Middle East talked about their anything. They just ordered their food and went, and that was it. But these two guys were really cool, and they were Iraqi, and one guy was like, he was like the rebel. He came in, ordered a sandwich with extra bacon on it. He was not halal or anything like that. So it was cool, like you said, getting to meet those people that had different experiences. So
well, it makes you want to hear too.
Once they broke that, we asked them, me and my coworker, we asked them, where are you guys from? Because we talked to people. We were bored. We were making sandwiches all day for tourists. Like, we just talked to people. Like, where are you guys from? We saw them in the shop all the time. Iraq. And like, they were real quiet about it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, we didn't have problems. It was like, cool, I don't have a problem with it. You come in and buy a sandwich from me. Like, I don't give a shit where you're from. I was just asking, And after that, once we broke that, totally different people. They weren't the shy customer just coming in to get a sandwich. They'd come in, they'd hang out, they'd sit and talk to us at the table.
And here's another part of that too. Is like, I was actually, when I was younger, when I was like 12, I was a little homophobe. When I was younger, I never met anybody from even outside the white race. I'm half Mexican, but it's because everybody talks so negatively about them. Mm-hmm. I have friends now that are, I have a couple I work with. They're like super gay, and sometimes I'll ask them about like their stories and stuff. Like, oh yeah, I'm definitely not gay. Like but they're telling me about it. I'm just interested in their perspective on life and stuff. There's a reason I study psychology. Yeah. But I'm not homophobe at all now. Like, but I needed to talk to somebody to understand their side of it. Like, it's something inside of me that always, since I was a little kid, that I want to hear your perspective, because I need to break the stigma that surrounds it. Like,
and that's my perspective on consciousness right now. Is people have to break that down.
Yeah, they have to get away from the stigmas. And that's why we're here for the conversation.
Well, and here's the thing too: is like some of those people that you think are going to be the enemy or they're so bad because they're gay or Muslim or whatever, end up being the coolest fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I love like jiu-jitsu so much, is because you have so many people from so many walks of life.
Doctors, lawyers,
it never
schoolers, kids.
matters what you are. You're on the mats. You are friends. You are family, and that's it. Like you guys have each other's back.
All the division in the world, people have forgotten.
Yeah, puts it away. It goes away.
I've grappled fucking people from every single walk of life.
Yeah.
I have different religious beliefs.
We're all living the same human experience, man. We're all here at the same time.
But again, it's kind of like we are naturally built, or people put it in our head to be like have defensive. A stereotype and have like this thought that we are everybody's afraid. We're taught to be afraid of each other. But I forget who wrote it. I actually read something today, and it was like, if you went out and just talked to your neighbor, you realize that America is not as scary as you think it is. Because
but it is.
It is. But if we would just spend some time and talk to each other, we have a device that connects with everybody around the room, everybody around the world, but not the person in the room.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they've done the science now, and like whether they try to hide it or whatnot, but those algorithms, they figured out that the whole reason that they work is because they try and find, and it was never intentional, but those algorithms exploit human flaw. Human flaw in psychology is that we always track towards like tragedy or excitement or stimulation,
sex,
stimulation of some sort. So what those algorithms have done is like, okay, so if say you look up something, or say you click on an article that is that clickbait news, those algorithms keep forcing
names.
That shit. Yeah,
look at the names of our podcast names. There's a reason they're named.
Yeah,
because it's like
those algorithms will grab those things and they'll keep shoving it in front of you. But it's become to a point to where it's not just like, okay, now it's this custom tailored, like I can look through these things I want to look at. It's picked out the worst of the worst of the worst, and it's shoving it in front of your face constantly.
You every day.
Constantly. So when you do talk to your neighbor, you break down that tiny little digital wall that we realize really isn't even fucking there when we're talking to everyday people
psychology
in your community.
So
that this division, this hate, this stuff, it's like if you just fucking talk to people, it's not that bad.
It's funny because the psychology, I believe, it's an important tool, but there's a lot of money put into in psychology on how to sell to people, how to deliver a message subliminally, so it's like Inception, so they feel like it really is, and it's control of the mind.
It's a darker side of psychology.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, anything can happen.
It becomes a manipulation.
Yeah, but I mean,
you have to look at it like my belief structure. The way I view the world is that everything is under control. Everything.
Yeah.
Every media source, everything that you know in your history books, the books that you're allowed to look up, the books that we know that have been written. All the authors that we know of, that's just stuff that you're allowed to see.
Well, see, I got a lot of those sources too, though, from people who were there. Like, there's diaries or stuff like, and they were just
real human experience happens, but like in the grander scheme of things, most of it is for something that you don't see.
Well, I didn't get to finish school, so I actually only have a 9th grade education. So everything I know about that stuff is actually through like again, news. I'm not using the school like it's a news source in a sense. I'm using those secondary and third levels of research to be able to learn, because I feel like I was robbed of a lot of that stuff, and I want to go and learn. Like, I want to know. It's for me, it's so important. Yeah.
Whatever this forbidden knowledge is, I want to know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's for my. I mean, there's stuff I don't care about. Yeah. But there's stuff that if you care about, and you're gonna tell me about it, so I'm gonna learn it. What about you? Is there anything you could take away from this?
Nothing. This was a awesome episode. Everything goes on. It's pretty cool. Listen to everybody's experience and their thoughts and everything. So.
And just conversation.
Yeah. I mean, especially when it's like intellectual and intelligent conversation. It's not like that dumb shit.
Just the babbling. Yeah.
Well, even I to be honest with you, my favorite part is tangents.
Well, because it gets interesting.
Well, it's because it's not I'm not necessarily I'm structured. I don't like guided talk. I like conversation. Yes. So for me, the conversation is almost the most important part, because we're talking about things that we're feeling in that moment.
Because I think this is something that humans as a species is like craving.
Hungry for.
They're craving this right now, this conversation, this talk, this sharing of ideas. And if it's not in front of a camera, nobody's satisfied. So, like, I know that's kind of awkward because we're like doing a podcast, but like seriously, you and I have had like conversations where we're just sitting out and we're talking, and like, who the fuck does that anymore? You know?
Yeah, not enough. I
Not
can't tell
enough.
you.
That's what I'm
before.
saying. Like,
Minus, we'll see with him. I traveled all over the West Coast with you,
Yeah.
and we've
but
talked
we're the
about the
anomalies.
Yeah,
We're the anomalies.
But I would like more of this. That's why I keep trying to get people in here. Like
Conversation the whole
People
time.
like us have to grab a hold of those people that are droning on in life, and like,
man, that droning on in
Fucking
life
wake
part,
up.
that I could go on that all day long.
and it's because all of us used to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
crazy.
I don't like.
And
I don't think
that's
we're,
the awakening.
Yeah, I was
that
gonna say
is
the
the
woke
woke part.
part,
Is
yeah.
that you saw that you wasted your life on stupid shit that didn't fucking matter, and you weren't happy.
Well, I'm still not playing
So-
video games. Like I got away from it because I feel like I think at a
Wasting
certain
my
point, I'm
time.
like, yes, I'm like, man, I'm
There's-
wasting.
there's-
I have all this. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck did I do
There's too
before
much
this?
stuff to learn for me
Yeah.
to sit down. I'm like, I still one of the best ways to shut my mind off is to just watching a stupid comedy movie. You know, like a buddy comedy movie. That's fine for me. But like video games, that's still too stimulating. If I'm gonna be doing something that much with my brain, I'm gonna be learning something, not
Yeah.
just
Yeah, see,
doing a repetitive motion in a digital world.
Kind of
you
the
know?
same way. I don't even watch TV most of the time anymore.
Not usually.
Yeah, I
you know?
got to get away from. I mean,
I can't even, like-
Okay, so I have a couple shows lately I've been watching just because I'm, I don't know, I can't. I
Because
just-
life interests.
Yeah, like okay.
Diesel Brothers and
Yeah, it's just, it's a long story, but yeah, I mean, I've almost got away from like before that. I didn't watch any shows. Like I don't see an interest in it anymore. I want to learn. I want to be in the world. I want to experience stuff.
I used to just sit down and watch shows for fucking hours. Now it's
Yeah.
like I go to watch a show and I'm like 10 minutes in and I want to do
bored.
something else because I'm fucking bored. Yeah.
That book I was talking about, actually, like the it's a religious book, and gosh, they even went to a camp on it. Like this guy was talking about, and he's like describing like human nature. And somebody else walked in the room. The turtle, when he walked in the room, he's like, "Oh, you should read this book." And then like they're talking about something in the book, and another person walks in and be like, "Wow, you should read this book." I'm like, "Has everybody fucking read this book?" I'm not gonna read it because I don't read. But all these people are like, I'm like, "Huh, this book is a big impact on what people feel like the warrior mindset and stuff like that." I was like, this is kind of interesting. I need to look more into it. But I think that's all the time we have today. We're at almost at 2 hours now. So
Sweet.
Yeah, we appreciate if you're here still right now listening to this. You need more shit to do. Like, we appreciate you. We definitely appreciate you for being here.
Thank you.
For listening this long. We're gonna have more content. We're gonna have video content. We're really working towards.
If you're
making
listening
this-
right now, make a comment on what you want us to talk about. What was the cool thing that you got out of this episode?
Yeah,
that you liked?
let's have
Yeah, I
a
like
conversation.
that. Yes.
Like just even if you just
use
say
the comment section to talk to us. That's
it,
what it's there
it could be
for.
about what we
Like,
talked about. Maybe
yeah.
you feel like one of us has offended you.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Please,
about that too.
Tell me that I've offended you,
Or
and then we'll
you-
try and figure out where that offense.
Or
came
you
from.
strongly believe what one of us are
Yeah,
saying.
you side with
yeah,
one
you
of
side
us
with
or-
it.
yeah.
I think that conversation, we don't want to just have it with each other. We want to have it with everybody.
Yeah. An offense. God, that's
Yeah,
another
and-
one.
if it
Stop
re-
being offended by
Yeah.
everything.
Well, it's okay to be offended.
Offense.
It's not okay
yeah.
to, because I'm offended, to just attack you as a person.
Lash
Right.
out.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
I've
but
done.
you have to stop being so offended by everything because that's just
stop
extremist.
being-
Don't be
culture,
afraid to
like-
have a conversation.
Yeah, just
like open up about
talk
it. Why?
About it. Don't just see one thing.
Yeah, let's
latch
talk
onto
about
it
it.
and
Yeah, let's
make
talk
it a
about
big deal when it's really not.
Yeah, I agree with you. So if you're still here, even if it's just a hello, let's have a conversation. I like that. And subscribe.
Yes, please.
Yeah, because if you do, then you get to hear more of this, and we get to have more conversations. So,
We get to hear every conversation about how afraid of Hillary Clinton you are.
bro, I'm telling you, like if you look at the numbers, how many people she's killed, like it's not.
How many people she's killed?
Well,
The
I'm
best-
sorry.
Yeah,
How
the
many
best
people
part
killed
of this is
themselves?
Hillary Clinton's hands are clean. Like there's nothing directly tying it to her, but there's a lot of really.
Bro, when she
weird
dies, Satan's gonna come up and be
coincidences.
like,
She's
"You're
not
like,
gonna die,
bro."
dude. Come on, you know they're
Yeah,
gonna
listen,
clone her
bro.
ass.
Yeah.
She's already got a clone.
Now we're getting into some weird shit.
Nah.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you.
Adrenochrome.
The what? The what?
Shh.
Oh,
That'll be another episode.
I'm gonna have to listen to this. All right, thanks, guys.